Hold on. I hit the live button, but it don't look like it's live on the YouTube then. Hold on. Let me do this. Alright, yeah, it's live now. Let me mute this out. Alright, we'll be back in just a second. I'm gonna play a song by Fortune Belize. I think this is called Black Kings Will Be right back.
Negro, I'm young, black, and ambitious. Top of your missus, wish list. I got her blowing kisses, making late night calls and visits. Did it with no handouts. They got their hand out. They don't understand me, and that's because I stand out. I'm the man now. Hey, can't you tell? But that's a nigga. I can sell a furnace to a man and half. I told my ex, sit back, take this L. Drop the past in the coffin. You was just another nail. Y'all ain't looking too well. Y'all looking dry, weak and pale. Said you got bars like a prison cell. Well, my ears posting bail. I got them sick to their stomach, and I just kept it 100. They sound fake and unwanted. Album sound underfunded. Okay, they claim that they run it when it sound like they walking. If you ain't talking about honeys, then why the hell are you talking? Bitch, I'm all about that green. I love a queen. Get it to my dreams. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X by any means. Next big thing on the big screen. Get my team 6 rings. Jordan off the picking screen. Young ambitious with big dreams. You looking at it, you black king. Bitch, I'm young, black, and ambitious. Hustling to get these riches. Young, black, and ambitious. Hustling to get these riches. Fuck you mean, shawty, fuck you mean. Yo, you looking at it, you black king.
Astro project, blast of attack, pass your neck with the shit to leave a rapper erects from the back of a black Acura. Bullet ricocheted and it's weighted and passed through your pecs. The assassin went. All y'all know y'all don't have to go. Sawed off shoddy, make you potty, probably call the law. Me no gangster, I'm no tough guy, be child of the most high. I get on the mic and you go, bye-bye. Devil don't test me, I throw shrapnel where your chest be. Shooting our family down in the streets, fuck the police, they ain't marching for me. Pull up, not that Rari, I ain't bad yet. I pull up out that 85% of mass at. I put this on God, bad black is so hard. Bitch, I'm going back to Harlem in my West African garb. What the fuck, I gotta toughen up so I can find a pump for me to bludgeon up. If you study, know it's gonna be bloody. Got a billion ways for them to lock you up. Educate and anticipate. This whole planet they decimate. Young man's better make bands better. Our ancestors like SMH. Back on this king shit. Nesu Biddy Mogul Naba got a proper title kingship. I conquer many. Mama give me cups of Henny. I'm a shot the Henny rings lit. And I don't fuck with Molly or that lean. I just lay up with my young black queens.
Young black and ambitious. Hustling to get these riches. Young black and ambitious. Hustling to get these riches. Fuck you mean, shawty, fuck you mean. What you mean? You looking at it, you black king.
All right, peace of Black African power. Welcome back to Kofi Piesie Research Team TV. Let me change my camera real quick because y'all looking at the back of my head. Hold on. Let me do this. All right. Hope everybody can still hear me. Again, peace and Black African power. Welcome back to Kofi Piesie Research Team TV. I am Kofi Piesie. I have a special guest today. First, I want to say ETM Hotel, Dua Aku, Dua Netcha, Fatmu Alafie, Fatmu Riri, Fatmu Iwa Pele, Majuba Ibe Agungun, Majuba Ibe Agungun, Majuba Ibe Lakba, Majuba Ibe Lakba. I always want to give honor and praise to the ancestors because without the ancestors, we wouldn't be here. We are our ancestors. I also would like to stand on and praise to the true and living elders out there, according from an African perspective and from an African world view. Again, just because you are older than me does not make you my elder. If you do not meet those standards or that criteria, then again, you are just an older and not an elder. Before I introduce, first I want to welcome CK the Poet to back on the channel. She's family, so y'all welcome her. All right. So first, before we get into the interview, I got to do this first. Hold on. Let me put this up here. Let me go here. I should have already had this up, but Let me see where we at. All right. First, this is one-on-one interview with Kofi Piesie and CK the Poet. So we're going to talk about a lot of things today. I thought it was only right to bring CK on the panel. Like I said in the post, I think that she's a brilliant young lady. She has a lot of purpose, a lot of value, and hopefully this year she'll be able to showcase that to let everybody else see. And again, it was, this is Women History Month, so I want to honor Frances Cress Wilson. So I want to say Majuba Ibe Gungun to Frances Cress Wilson, or Majuba Ibe Frances Cress Wilson, Majuba Ibe Frances Cress Wilson. And again, there I go rushing to try to do something. I'd have misspelled the ancestor name as I look out here, try to hurry up and rush and put this thumb nail together to honor her. But Majuba Ibe to Frances Cress Wilson. All right, let me go back and hide this. And real quick before we get into, I always got to promote. So go get Beautiful Lessons About Kimoyo. If you don't have Beautiful Lessons About Kimoyo, please go get Beautiful Lessons About Kimoyo. It is on our same tree, different branch publishing company. If you don't have Spearmasters, a historical survey in the minds of African warrior scholars, volume 4, please go get that. That is our latest edition. The title is inspired by the Dinka people in the South Sudan. We're still in a pandemic, so if you not familiar with COVID-19 or need some understanding about COVID-19 or the vaccines, this is a book for you. What Sars Taught Me by Inherit Sean Cal Funny, or his new name, Brother Spicy P. Spicy P. Oh, man. Also, go get Spearmasters Institution, which is an institution that we created for the youth. So go get our learning coloring book, Spearmasters Coloring Book 1. Also go get Tep Hesed edition by our brother Chavis McCrae, Religious Belief Revisited, the Tep Hesed edition. Also go get on our Spearmasters Institution, our comprehension book. It is a comprehension book that raise the level of our children and also our adults. All those are on same tree, different branch publishing. Let me do this. Let me come off of here and we'll do one thing and we'll jump into the interview. I know y'all waiting on it. Waiting on the interview. Let me do this. If it'll let me do this, slides. All right. Okay. I'll share this real quick. This is the New Independent African Academy. Again, we created a safe space over here, a new community called the New Independent African Academy over here. So these are some of the things we have: codes of conducts, mandates, and standards that we're trying to abide by, and things that we're trying to fulfill outside of the YouTube community. So New Independent African Academy community mandates: never talk down on another NIAA member in public. Number 2, no pseudo. Number 3, research methods and methodology must be followed. Number 4, teach those that are ready and willing to learn. Number 5, support other members. Number 6, disagreements handled in private. Number 7, no one is above correction. Number 8, we must stand on Africa and the descendants and diaspora. Number 9, zero tolerance for dishonesty. Number 8, Iwariwi. For those that may not know what Iwariwi is, that is just good character, is the standards for how one must conduct themselves. Number 11, no selfish acts. Number 12, no scamming. Number 13, no pedophilia. Number 14, no disrespecting Black women. Number 15, race first. Number 16, supporting Black businesses. Number 17, integrity. Number 18, must possess the will to learn. Number 9, each one teach one, or what we like to say over here, as I learn, we all learn. Now, the NIAAC goals: producing more authors, which I think is very important. Number 2, producing exceptional men and women. Number 3, institutions for learning. Number 4, entrepreneurship. Number 5, scientific literacy. Number 6, scholarships for the youth. Number 7, long-lasting marriages. Number 8, creating rites of passages. Number 9, unification. Number 10, multiple support groups. So some of those things that we have for as goals that we've been for facilitating, like I said, we created the Spearmaster Institution, which is geared toward the youth. So we're producing stuff for the youth. We have scholarships that we're funding people to go to school. We're trying to, we're having more people that are reaching out, want to start producing. We're producing literature, telling our story from our own perspective instead of letting other people tell our own story. Now that is over, again, I would like to welcome our sister, CK, CK the poet. And CK, could you introduce yourself for people that may not know who CK the poet is?
Sure. Just first wanted to start by saying peace to the good. On your appreciate that. That may know me a little. Originally, squad, and eventually caught the eye and show me to the mostly see me, Pseudo Killas, but of course that's people as well. Like of course, New Black Knowledge, true by the name Each One Teach, Mossy Warrior Clan, Kofi Piesie research team, Science with Sean, huh?
Hold on, CK. You breaking up kind of bad, and I thought maybe that probably be on my end, but they say you breaking up.
If need be, I can switch to my phone maybe. I mean, I am on Wi-Fi, but I got good internet. Am I still breaking up now?
No, you good. You good. Go ahead. You good.
Okay.
See, she's Teddy says CK have to turn off the Call of Duty.
Oh Lord. Hey, sometimes you gotta blow up a tank, son.
Yeah, and Sean said you sound better too.
Nah, my boyfriend, he sleeps, so he's not on the internet.
You breaking up again, CK. Pop out and then pop back in, CK. Just pop out and then pop back in. That should do better. She'll be right back, y'all. She'll be right back. She I don't know, breaking up real bad. She said she got great internet. So y'all just hold on just a sec. I know some of us impatient when stuff don't go on. We'll pop in. Ain't nothing going. She'll get off. We'll jump off. So she'll be right back. Let me let her back in. That's her right there. All right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you sound you good. You were just freezing up.
Yeah, because like I'm checking my bars. I got all bars.
Well, you good now. You good. So just start back over briefly. Introduce yourself because you was breaking up bad. We could hear some of the stuff, but you good.
Okay, apologies for that. I don't know how much y'all did or didn't hear, but I started off by saying, thank you, good brother Kofi, for allowing me to come on your platform. I wanted to say peace, of course, to good brother Kofi, and peace definitely to the chat. Some people may be familiar with me, some people may not be familiar with me. My name is Chani Kinsler. I go by the I guess you could say the alternative alias name, the poet. As just a in the chat used to just watch, eventually started saying something, a year or so after I started watching them, and then I caught the attention of brother Uncle Wes. Everybody, but that's Bob now. And he asked me to come on, and I guess folks liked me enough, and he liked me enough to where he just kept asking me to his platform to speak. Eventually, he ended up.
They say you going out again, CK.
Let me see, trying to think. Hold on. I might be able to just phone.
All right, okay, we'll try that.
I don't have issues on stream. I'll be on my phone. My own.
She'll be right back. She finna try the phone. That's not working, but I hope the phone thing work, because I know sometimes being on the phone on StreamYard, it's I don't know, man. It kind of can be funny, you know, on there, but give us just a second. She gonna try to pop in on StreamYard, but you know, till she get back, man, y'all just hold on, man, and be patient, man. But peace to, I see Sister Bonita Sutton, peace, sister. Peace, Teddy Usher, my aunt Rob. Peace, brother Zane. We see our brother, peace, brother Annie Harris, Sean Cal Funny, Chemo, Yo West African Spirits, Sister Athena Cross. You still here, peace, good sister. Peace, Sister Julanda. Glad to see you, sis. Rock City, New York. I know you made that post early. I don't know if that's dang, that's not Vance, but I forgot Sister Safi. Peace. Ogunbola, what's happening, man? He says shalom. Peace, brother. Peace. StreamYard don't like us, Kofi. I see, man. I'll see. But y'all just give it a second, y'all. She trying to pop back on from the phone. So hopefully that'll work. Peace per black, peace, brother, peace per pure black. Y'all please like and share the show. Like I said, man, once she get back on, this should be a pretty interesting interview, man, with this sister, man. You know, we got some questions, man. I would like to, you know, like for her to answer, you know, get it from a woman, you know, from a woman perspective, from this space that we in, you know, so maybe she can give us a perspective from, you know, from a woman's perspective on how she feeling. So that's her right there. Let her back in.
All right. How does that sound? It might be me using video as well.
Okay.
That could play a role in it too with the connection.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I am, you know, in somebody's stream, normally I don't show my face because I just be kicking back, chilling. I be multitasking, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't be trying to be looking like a princess or shit in live stream, so I just be kicking back.
I feel you. I'm the same way. I'm looking rough today, but shoot, it's all good, man. We all family. But yeah, go ahead, you know, and let's just run it from the top, man. Just, you know, briefly introduce yourself, and then we'll get into the video. Peace, brother Rakeem 777.
Copy. Apologies to everyone. Apologies. Like I said, I don't know how much was heard or what wasn't heard, but like I said before, you know, basically I was a viewer that eventually caught the eye of Unc. Unc asked me to come on his platform, and he just kept asking me to come on his platform until he asked me to be a part of the Pseudo Killas, and that's pretty much where I've been. You know, that's my team, that's my group. You know, whether I love them or, you know, have issues with them, that's my people. You know what I mean? And you know, of course, I'm, you know, a supporter of other people as well, like Mossy Warrior Clan, New Black Knowledge, who now go by the name Each One Teach One. You know, Kofi Piesie, Science with Sean. And that's pretty much where I'm at.
Okay. Now let's go and get into the question first, man. I'm wondering, before we just get deep into the questions, how you come up with the name CK the Poet, or where CK the Poet come from?
I would say, well, I'll be honest. I'll be honest, my dude. It wasn't always CK the Poet. Originally, it was Poet X. Mm-hmm. It was Poet X, and it started in middle school because my dad, he was in the Nation of Islam, you know, and I was like, you know, studying to get my X and whatnot around that time too. So I used to call myself Poet X because I would write, you know, some poetry here and there. You know what I mean? And the poetry influence was really mostly from my mom, who wrote stuff here and there. And then I ended up coming across great people like Maya Angelou, you know, and then of course, you know, in school, you know, you take English class or literature class, and they kind of introduce you to, certain novelists or poets, like Robert Frost or other people I can't really think of off the top of my head at the exact moment. So it didn't really become CK the Poet until I got into high school, because that's when I kind of started peeling away from religion and religious practices and beliefs. I really didn't even know I was an atheist at the time until like I got into college. So pretty much by the time I got into the 11th grade, about to be a senior, that's when I kind of transitioned it from being Poet X to just CK the Poet, because people were already calling me CK. And they called me CK because they had a difficulty pronouncing my first name. My first name is Chani. It's only 5 letters. And my dad, when he named me as a baby, he got the name from a really popular movie back in the 1980s called Frank Herbert's Dune. The main, I guess, love interest of Mohadib in that movie, he was her name was pronounced Cheney. It's actually pronounced Cheney, but my dad pronounces it Chani. So it's confusing to a lot of people when they read it, because the way that it's written is not necessarily the way that it's pronounced, and then they don't even know how to pronounce it. Then even that, so sometimes I get called Chain, China, etc.
Okay.
Etc. So that's pretty much how that kind of came around. So I ended up getting into poetry a little bit more based on, influence from my mom, and, being exposed to like people like Maya Angelou.
Okay.
And I ended up getting into the poetry club too as well in high school, and like the African American Literacy Club in high school. And, shockingly, a lot of people didn't know that I was a poet. Even though I would call myself, CK the Poet, they would be like, "Damn, like I never hear you read a poem. I never hear you say a poem. Like I never really just read my poetry. I never used to share my poems at all." So it was my stepmom, I think, when I was in high school, that convinced me to join the poetry club and African American Literacy Club to kind of share what I was writing. And then my sister, I think it was my sister probably, that was the one that convinced me as an adult, instead of submitting my poems to poetry.com, poetry.org, instead of me submitting my poems there, she was like, why don't you, have like your own website and, you just post it on there. So that's when I started my WordPress blog,
Okay. Right. Give out your WordPress blog for people that may not know.
It's just my first name and my last name. Do you want me to give you the actual link?
No, I'll get it from you, because I want to put it in the link, but I wanted people, that was listening right now, if they want.
Yeah, if you just type in ChaniKinzler.wordpress.com, it'll take you right there. But I'll send you the link.
Yeah, I'll put it in there too, and then at the end of the show, I'll go back and put it in the description for people that may want to come back and view the video later on and watch it in the archives and be, okay, well, let me check the sister out. And so it'll be in the description box at the bottom as well. CK, before we go any further, do you remember how me and you met?
You might have to tell me the story, but I would assume that I probably met you through Unc, most likely.
Yeah, you met me through Unc. I'll just tell the story.
Okay.
And I'm okay. I'll just tell the story. All right. When the Pseudo Killas first got started, y'all was Pseudo Killas channel wasn't even started. Y'all was doing some on the Real Black Atheists on Fire channel on Unc channel a lot. So he was trying to get y'all get the momentum going for the Pseudo Killas, and y'all didn't have all this. Even though I still don't know a lot of the members, I know a few of the members, but it wasn't as many members as y'all had. But it was what you and double X or whatever it is, triple X or what's the triple X the architect, double X the architect.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I don't know what the bill was about. So I was on there, you know, just trying to get familiar with Unc's new group, you know what I'm saying, or with the new group, the Pseudo Killas. And y'all had a conversation. And the conversation, I'm like, and you and Double X were
Oh,
going
I
off.
remember now.
Or
Yeah.
y'all were going off. And I got on the panel and
Man, you were hot with me.
38 hot. And that was like the first time I'm meeting you in the exchange. I'm like, I don't know if I like this sister here. And I was like, I know, I don't know if I like this brother Double X, even though I had seen him a couple of times. And I was like, well, I don't really like, I don't care about how people, critique. I just didn't like the way that he kind of critiqued information, how he kind of went overboard and how he would say things and wasn't fully versed in certain things. He's a smart brother. I'm not taking that away from him. But so after that show, I ended up doing a presentation. From that show, I did a presentation because y'all was trying to compare some stuff to African tradition or African traditional religion, or what we call in Kimoyo, to Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. So from that show, y'all inspired me to do a full-length presentation on the comparison between the two, just to break down the two, which they have no similarities between the two. But that's how we kind of met. But after that, I ended up having a conversation with you afterwards. I don't know, was it on the phone or was it through Facebook Messenger before we started talking on the phone? And I'm kind of glad we had that conversation and me being introduced to you, because like I said, the last maybe 2 years we've been having the conversations, and we've been having a conversation. I'm like, and just the conversation that we've been having, I feel like, you are a brilliant young lady in your own right, you know what I'm saying? And I wish you would do more things where people can actually see your brilliance, see your talent, and see your value. And while I'm talking about that, before we get more into the video, I want to read what value is real quick, man. So the value, the regards of something that is held to diverse, the importance, worth, or usefulness of something. A person, a principle, or standards of behavior, one judgment of what is important in life. Considering someone or something to be important or beneficial, have a high opinion of. So you have a lot of value, and I just think that a lot of people don't see the value that you have. And I hope that this year be the year where you exhibit the value that you have, and people give you your just due and listen to what you have to say and listen to what you have to offer. Also worth, you know what I'm saying? Worth, I want to read the definition of worth. It is the value of usefulness of something or someone, teammates, praise is worth to be to the team. So you have worth and you have value. I just hope that the people or people you associate yourself with see your value and see your worth. And I hope that this year you get your just due, and people able to see the things that you got, because we talk and you, at least she done popped off of here. Hopefully she'll pop back on in a minute. I don't know what happened, but hopefully, you know what I'm saying? So I wanted to read those two terms out for Sister CK, because I know, for people that may not know, that this sister, I'm telling you, if you have a conversation with this sister, you will see exactly what I see in our great sister CK, the poet. All right, but I just wanted to get that off, CK, before we get started, and hope that you see value and worth in your own self too, Sister CK. And I believe too, before we get any further, I believe that if you exert the talents that you have, because we're going to talk about your talents, and people able to see your talents and your brilliance, I think you will be the forerunner that may be able to bring out a Sister Julanda, or bring out a Sister Anisha, or bring out other sisters. I think that you may I believe that, and this is my opinion, that that you will set the tone for the women, because we have women that I believe that is smart and capable to be in this space, this horrible spaces that we call in the conscious community that is overdriven by men. So I believe that if you start to exhibit and you start to bring out and share more of your ideals and share more of your presentations and so forth, I think that you will be the inspiration for those other sisters, like a sister Benita, a sister Julanda, a sister Anisha, and etc., who you may be able to motivate and inspire, and we may be able to see more women doing more stuff in this space.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to say thank you for that. I really appreciate that, Kofi.
No problem. So name some of your favorite sheroes. Who are some of your favorite sheroes, from a scholar standpoint, from an entertainer standpoint, and from a family standpoint? Who are some of your sheroes? Who are some of CK?
I mean, I'll be honest, like even like growing up, like I really didn't get heavily influenced by I guess you could say prominent like women figures. It was mostly kind of like the men that you would get exposed to, whether it was their writings or whatnot. And I hope to kind of change that, being an adult, try to come into contact with sorry about that. Come into contact with more people that are women and the things that they have done to kind of like, I guess you could say, see myself in these women instead of only focusing on, the prominent male scholars that you constantly see over and over again. And that's something that I definitely need to work on with myself in regards to that. Like, I know from seeing the questions that you gave me, like on the entertainment side, I guess it's the same thing. Not too many women that I can think of, like so far as like actors or comedians that like I just was heavily influenced by. But when it comes into the music aspect, I had some influence there.
Okay.
When I was a kid, well, I'll say this much. When I was a kid, like I was heavily influenced by Robin Williams. I loved that dude to death as a kid. Like I just remember it. I remember it vividly. Like I wanted to be like that dude. Like I wanted to be a voice actor. I wanted to, imitate voices. And like I used to try to imitate all the cartoon characters. Every popular cartoon character, I used to try to imitate the voice. And I actually wasn't too bad at it. But once I got into like high school and whatnot, like I think I can't remember what happened. I couldn't get into the drama club or the drama class. I couldn't get into the some of the extracurriculars that I wanted to get into. I ended up getting into sports instead.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to like music, that was a little bit different. I had a lot of female influences there that I think played a role, and I guess my perspective on things in life. And some of them are like Flowetry. For those of y'all that don't remember Flowetry, they were a real popular group back in the early 2000s.
I could see you liking them.
Oh yeah, I was crazy over Flowetry, man.
Yeah, they both of them dope.
I think they were originally from the UK, and they ended up hooking up with some artists in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. But they were a real dynamic duo. The flowistess and the songstress. One of their most popular songs was, all you gotta do is say yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it was awesome. My dad, like, he had a lot of music, like these big, 4-inch folder, big behind cases of like CDs, I guess, from him collecting, some of the best, artists and musicians over the years, maybe from when he was a kid and became an adult, and then now he got kids now, so he just kept all those songs. So of course I used to get my behind tore up for going through it. But I used to sneak and get some of his songs, and I would listen to eventually, like when I got older and I guess a little bit more responsible, and he trusted that I wouldn't break the darn CDs, I would listen to Zane. Zane was a really good duo group back in the late 90s.
That was produced. they was associated with Naughty by Nature producer, that right?
Yeah. They were associated with them. Like they did the song, hey, Mr. DJ.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I think they did the song for one of the Wayans brothers movies, Low Down Nerdy Shame.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did.
Shame.
Yes, then. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
I really like. That's probably honestly my favorite group outside of Flowetry. Like I still listen to their music to this day. I'm not gonna lie. And who else that I used to listen to really heavily that I think had a good influence on me? Erykah Badu. Yes, Erykah Badu. Now, whatever the heck she got going on nowadays, I don't know. Like a lot of my artists, I listen to the stuff like from back in like the 90s and 2000s. Like a lot of the stuff that they're doing nowadays, they're trying to compete with, other artists. So they kind of change their music and their persona and their style. And some of them got mental issues and drug addiction issues, and like their stuff changes. So you kind of just stick to what you fell in love with, and you may not listen to their newer stuff. But I used to love listening to Erykah Badu, with On and On. And trying to remember, I can't remember the other songs I used to listen to from her. Mama's Gun and whatnot. Of course, people like India Arie.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you mentioned
yeah. I had a
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say I had a sister that was in the Nation of Islam. She was a little bit younger than me, but she was in the NOI longer than me. And she listened to India Arie heavily. And she used to let me borrow her CD player, and I would listen to it. And I was like, oh, I like this. Like, who is this? I am not my hair. I am not the skin. I'm like, that's
you see her now. It's straight. She's straight. She done kind of changed her image a little bit now. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't listen to her newer stuff. Yeah, but like her older stuff, yeah, I do. And I remember, coming to contact with like, some female rappers too, like Queen Latifah.
Yeah.
Trying to remember. I can't remember. Like I don't really listen to them as much anymore. You come into contact, with MC Light and all that and whatnot. I used to also listen to this chick called Michelle Ndegeocello. Her newer stuff I don't listen to no more, but she was one of the chicks that was really popular back in the 90s that did the song If That's Your Boyfriend, He Wasn't Last Night.
Oh yeah.
She played the bass guitar, like
Okay.
So like those are all the musicians that I would say like I got heavily influenced by, and like I still listen to them real heavily today. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, you end up following with the crowd as well and picking up the rap music. And my dad really didn't like me listening to that stuff. Like I remember like throwing a fit because I wanted to buy this CD. What was it? I wanted to buy Crime Mob. And I was like, yo, this group is fire. They crunk. I was like, yo, I like this. Like, I want to buy this. Nah, sweetheart, you can't buy that. And I was like, why? And like, I felt like I had the maturity. I felt like at that age, I had the maturity to know, like, yo, not to do this stuff that they were talking about in their music, but he didn't want me listening to it. Of course, a year later, I snuck and bought the darn CD anyway. But, now that I'm an adult, like I look back on that and I can see what kind of morals and what kind of behavior my dad was trying to instill in me, and why he didn't want me to listen to that kind of music, because you start picking up the behavior, you start using the language, you start acting like the people and emulating the stuff that you see them do, and of course, as a kid, I ended up, doing that stuff, because if you're surrounded by it all the time, it'll influence you a little bit here and there, even though you're still yourself.
Right. Okay, and I can see you with listening to all of them. Ogun Bola, he says this conscious NIGGA don't respect sisters. Kofi, no cap. I wish the woman did have their own channel. I would be donating like hell. Ogun loves the ladies. We're gonna actually talk about that in a little bit about the men, and we definitely going to talk about this. So stick around, brother. We definitely going to talk about it, because I want to get, a space. There's a couple of things we're going to talk about, man, that been going on, not just been going. It's been going on actually. Hold on, let me get off.
And like I was gonna say one more thing on that music tip as well. Like my dad, he was really into smooth jazz, and like I still listen to a lot of the stuff too, even to this day. But like smooth jazz, like was my joint. Like I'm glad that he like introduced me to that because I ended up listening to people like I didn't bring them up initially because none of them are women, they're all men. You know,
Right.
like Boney James, this one black group called Pieces of a Dream, Richard Elliott, Candy Duffler. I know I'm forgetting some people. Will Downey. Like those were that was the type of music that he used to listen to back then. Jazz Masters. Oh yes, Jazz Masters was real popular. The heart of New York. Remember this. Like, I don't know. I have to find them songs. They're probably on one of my old MP3 players when I used to use MP3 players somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, let's, like I said, I keep saying this and I just want to keep reiterating it to you because, you are that, like I say, you are, to me, you are and you will be, because like I said, I know this year will definitely be the year of CK, the poet. And, so, like I said, you have a lot of value, you have a lot of worth. And I don't think people got an ideal of a lot of talents. Like, we're blessed with like a lot of talents, and a lot of times we don't act on the talents. And I'll be guilty as that as well, because I have multiple talents, and I just now actually started. Well, I have in the past, but I stopped. But I actually now started acting on those talents. So, can you explain some of the talents that CK the poet has?
Got you. Yes, sir. I'm gonna be honest. Like I be having imposter syndrome like a mug. Usually, I don't really see what talents I have. Usually, it's other people that kind of see it, and then they mention it, and I be like, really? And then they get to explaining it, and I'm like, okay, I guess I do that. You know what I mean? But I'm into all kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like I grew up as a comic book reader, an anime watcher, a gamer. You know what I mean? And as an adult, I'm into all different kind of stuff. I like to read about things I didn't know before. People like True Story from New Black Knowledge has like motivated me to try to learn more about my history and about what our people have done in America. I already was kind of, even before I kind of started coming around a lot of the individuals that I associate with, I was already leaning towards socialism and Marxism, even though I don't necessarily consider myself a socialist or a Marxist. I actually consider myself more of a progressive. But when you get to talking to me, it's pretty evident that by definition I would be a socialist. You know what I mean? So I do like reading certain works from people that are of that ideological faction, and I'm in different stuff. Like I can vet information, I can present stuff, I can do public speaking. I'm a little tech savvy, and I probably have other talents that I don't even realize that I have. Like I can write some stuff if I have to. I'm good at multitasking. I can learn stuff new and learn stuff, on the fly. And I try to, help people if I can. I may not be as consistent as I would like to be, but it is what it is.
Okay. So now let's get into, all right, this is something that, like I said, Ogun Bola just put it up, but how do you feel about women being disrespected at an all-time high in this space we call the conscious community? Before you go in, like I'm gonna just say that we had to start it. We had to take us, if we're going to take us, well, I'll get into that because that'll be like in the next question. But how do you feel? I want to get this from a sister perspective. Like, as men, sometimes we often dismiss women feelings. We say women are too emotional, and et cetera. But how do you feel about, women? Because it don't matter what platform you go on to, if a woman comes on and says something that someone disagree with, and versus a man, if you look versus a man may come on and say something. They can, still be able to, maybe they may talk over each other, etc., but it may not at times get to the ad hominems, but sometimes it does. But I see it more with the women. The women say certain things, and they get cussed out. They could become bitches. They become whores. And then somebody sent me something the other day, and I looked at, which was had me heated, was an exchange. I don't know this person particular. This guy, Shauna had some interaction with the guy, but he was like very disrespectful to the women on the panel. You and Julanda, Anisha, was a few other people. He didn't want to talk to the women. He was very disrespectful to the women, like the women don't have anything to offer. He'd rather talk to a man than talk to a woman, because the woman in this space is useless. So can you kind of talk about, how you feel about, the disrespect being at an all-time high in a space that's supposed to be conscious, in a space that's supposed to be conscious, a place where unification is supposed to be, because when you first get into this community, all this stuff is sold to you that everybody get along with each other. It's about unification. It's about unifying and building with the people, making it better for each and every one of our families, making it better for our community, uplifting our community, getting a knowledge of self, of who we are, what we have contributed to society, what our ancestors actually died for, and etc. So how do you feel?
Yes, sir. I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna go all the way in. You know what I mean? And I'm just gonna keep it 100 right off the rip. So people don't get confused about who I am and what I'm about. I am not a part of the conscious community. I have never been a part of the conscious community. I've never tried to be, and honestly, I'm not a really big fan of that word conscious, mainly because how the way it's used. And, just to get off that tip, I just wanted to say that right off the rip. You know what I mean? I may be around people that are part of the conscious community, but me, myself, I am not their friend. Let's just say that I'm not their friend. So mainly just to answer your question, like the general part of your question, let's just keep it 100. I expect women to be treated this way. It does not shock me. I'm actually kind of desensitized to it, because when I think back at my personal experiences as a woman, growing up, I noticed even at I didn't know what the word for it was as a kid growing up, but I knew something was off about how the way like I would be treated versus how like my stepbrother would be treated, or how other boys would be treated, but look at how the women would be treated. And like I recognized that it was taking place. And sometimes I would get in trouble for simply speaking out against it, like like why does he get to do this but I can't? Why are you being harder on me, but like this one can do whatever they want? What I mean? Like I just noticed that even as a kid. So once you kind of get into an adulthood, you start understanding, the different terms and the different, ideological thought process, the sexism, the misogyny, the racism. You start having a word and a definition to the behaviors and the things that you're experiencing. You know what I mean? So just to give you an example of like what I mean by, just to continue on to what I mean. So this quote unquote conscious community, they are not that much different than the real world. And in the real world, at least here in America, I can speak for because I live here. This society is ruled around patriarchy, the male dominance over others, the male dominance over women. And I think a lot of folks don't realize that racism and sexism, they go hand in hand. And if you're willing to discriminate against one person based on their race, you'll be willing to discriminate other people as well based on other features or characteristics, whether it's their sex, whether it's their class in society, whether they're, like rich or poor, their educational level, maybe they didn't go to college, maybe they did go to college, and etc. In this conscious community, not just the conscious community, but also in some other aspects in the Black community, like when you start looking at a lot of the Black power movements too as well, you see that element of racism towards white people. And I'm not saying that, it's wrong that people don't call out the mistreatment that we experience from white people, but sometimes it starts dipping into that racism, and it's like, damn, like we already mad that white supremacists are being racist towards us. How does that make us better when we're being Black supremacist towards whether it's white people or the other racial groups? Right. Just to like kind of dive more deep into it, I have a really good documentary I watched last year towards the end of the year. I can't remember the name of the dude that did it. I threw it in a Discord server. I can find it if I need to. It was about how a lot of this trend of transphobia and homophobia, and shoot, you might as well say sexism as well, because it started off with sexism and then it bled into the transphobia and homophobia, and how that's a gateway to grooming people that normally wouldn't associate with racist people or associate with white supremacists to be racist and associate with those people in their platform. And that includes Black people. Mm-hmm. So if they can get you to agree with them with one thing you don't like, oh, you don't like trans people, oh, you don't like homophobia. Once they get you on the hook with that, they can get you to start agreeing with some of the other stuff that you normally probably wouldn't agree with prior to them. Whether it's something that's on racism or sexism or whatever. Right. And there's a lot of misogyny, in these patriarchal societies like it is here in America. There's a lot of contempt and hatred and prejudice towards women. We see it in elements all the time, and I think we just don't recognize it no more because it's just always there. We just almost think like it's normal. It's in the art. It's in the literature. It's in our societal structure. It's in our historical events. It's in people's mythology. It's in their religion and their religious dogma. They put it in their laws.
Yeah. And you see that a lot. I see that a lot here in Mississippi because this is the Bible Belt, right? So most of the people here are Christians, you know what I'm saying? And they are what I call insane Christians, you know what I'm saying? They will disown their own family if they don't believe in Jesus Christ or believe in Christianity or go to church. And in and it's just not in Christianity, because Judaism, even Islam, they got the same, what I call the same team, the same. They on the team members, but they play for different teams. You still, if you go to Judaism, Christianity, they still got Abraham, Isaac, Ishmael. You got Moses, and so forth, right? So, but in those doctrines, you got a story that talks about Adam and Eve, right? And Adam and Eve, just already in the beginning of those books, it's talking about a woman. Men are in sin because of because of the fall of a woman. The woman bit this forbidden fruit. So now we are in a situation because of the woman is, right? And then you got other parts that talks about how women are supposed to be quiet, you know what I'm saying? And and not supposed to be teachers, because I hear this stuff all the time and I have to hurt a lot of grown men's feelings because they are under because it's in the indoctrination, and even in the United States, like you saying, this is a male driven thing, and most of the people that's wrapped up in those religions, the women is frowned upon. Even in those books, you don't even hear that the women is, like I tell people, I don't want to go to heaven because ain't no women in heaven. They always talking about these men in heaven. We are in the fall of sin because of a woman. The woman can't teach. The woman is supposed to be quiet. The man was here first, and the woman comes from the rib of a damn man. The man is the head of the household, and that's how we operate outside, even if we're not wrapped up into those them doctrines. we still wrapped up in that ideology for the United States, where this is a man's world. You see what I'm saying? And we don't want to listen to our women. And this is my house. I'm a head of the household. I'm filing head of the household, and etc. So we become, like you said, male chauvinists, and I know a lot of Christians are male chauvinists, but not even just Christians. In the space that we calling this conscious community, have become male chauvinists, where the respect for the women is at an all-time high. You see what I'm saying? And some of the same things that is in the doctrine. A lot of these people come from out of the church. They come from out of the mosque. They come from out of the synagogue, right? And they have been a practitioner of these doctrines for so long that it's still embedded in them. So even when they transition and say they're not a part of these certain things, some of the bad habits that they have, they transition that into what we're calling this horrible space, the conscious community, the online community, or whatever. And we begin to do those same things, or what we're running from, and that is not giving our women a voice, not being respectful to our women, not valuing our women, not worthing our women, not uplifting our women, not encouraging our women, talking over our women. And it's just like I'm saying, it's just disgusting to me. And also what's disgusting to me is I want to ask, how do you feel? And I don't care about how nobody feel about this, because it's disgusting to me. And so I'm asking, with that, how do you feel about men in this space, whatever space you want to call it? Because like I'm saying, I know you say you're not a part of the conscious community. I say the same thing. We even created the new Independent African Academy, and saying we divorcing the conscious community. We're not a part of it, but we can't escape it. We can't escape it. We still surrounded around people that associate in certain associated, you know what I'm saying, in this hot space, right? So I'm asking, how do you feel about the men, these conscious men, or these strong men, or these educated men, or these scholastic men, or these and these so-called powerful men? How do you feel about them not standing up for the women in this horrible space, this online space, or this conscious community, or even standing up and then stop revoke what they say they're gonna do? Some of us say we're gonna stand in solidarity against any platform or any person that disrespect the women that we revere or we love, and then we retract from that statement that we standing in solidarity, and then we embrace the people. We still go on their platform. We still provide them an opportunity to have access of us, even when they disrespected our women. So how do that make you feel, that the men is not protecting the women in this space?
Yeah. Before I dive into that question, I just had one more thing that I wanted to add to the previous question, and that was, about the whole women being disrespected, in the conscious community, or just, in the Black community, period. And that is like how you mentioned before, this idea, or this talking point or thought process that some people have. It's not just the men, but it's the women too, that I guess get influenced by that type of thinking at a young age, and then they continue that thought into adulthood, that women need to stay in their place. You need to stay on that lower social status that we say that you need to be on. And a lot of times, you'll see in society, we're surrounded by it, where it's just straight up condoned and encouraged to be violent towards women, to domestically abuse them. You know what I mean? You'll notice a couple of groups that have popped up over the years. Some people may not be familiar with them, but this group called incels, spelled INCELS, incels, is mostly, I'm not gonna lie, white men. And you see how like these narratives that they push about women get pushed by them, and then like you see these new movements pop up when those don't work out very well. You know what I mean? And it just gets out of control. I would say that just to make my whole point about the whole thing, I don't think it's just really a conscious community thing or really just a Black people thing. I think it's just how things are encouraged in society. And I don't think that just because Black people create a separate space for them and call it the conscious community or call it the Black power, this, that, and the third, doesn't mean that they don't bring those racist, sexist, and misogynist ideologies with them when they create these institutions. You know what I mean? They be bringing the white folks conspiracy theories and they pseudosciences right along with them. You know, so I just go back to like what I said at the very beginning, like it doesn't shock me. I'm pretty much desensitized to it. You know, even as a gamer, I experienced, you know, just as much sexism as I do racism, because if I don't get called a nigger by the white boys when I'm gaming, I'm getting called a bitch by the Black dudes. So there's no safe space for me there. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I didn't, you know, get, you know, better friends over time and start realizing, okay, I can't associate with these type of people. But either the Black dudes are agreeing with the white boys when they're like, oh, she need to go back in the kitchen. Oh, why are you playing this game? You know, bitch, this, that, and the third. Oh, I bet you fat. Oh, I bet you ugly. I bet you this. Oh, yo, give me your number. Oh, send me some pics. Oh, let me see some breasts. You know, yo, where you live at. You know what I mean? And like, just speaking on just the gaming world, period, for a long time, you know, women wouldn't speak. They would pick a gamer tag that make you think that they're a dude. They would pick a gamer picture that would make you think that they're a dude, and they just wouldn't speak because of the harassment, yo. And it still goes on to this day. Even though companies like Microsoft, they implement all kinds of, you know, banning features, and they make a stance and put rules in place that, hey, we're not tolerating this. Because on these online platforms, there's an issue with, yes, men trying to get children. And just to give you like a real quick story before I dive into the question that you wanted me to move on to. Back then, when I first started gaming online, and when I actually had the ability to be able to speak to people, because back then you used to have to type, so people didn't know if you were a female or not. You could just pretend to be a dude. But when you could start speaking, and then I got an Xbox 360, I was like, oh yeah, like now I'm, you know, I got money now, I got a job, you know, I'm finna game and play with everybody, and we're gonna have a lot of fun. I used to get hollered at by grown dudes that thought I was a little boy. And I don't really talk about it too much because it's just so weird. Like, I used to have it happen to me all the time because the audio quality on the mics back then were just so shitty. Like, it was really bad. So you would think like a lot of young women, they don't have a really perky voice or a really sexy voice. You'll think that they're a young boy that hasn't hit maturity yet, that hasn't, you know, got the deep voice yet. So I used to get hit on by dudes a lot thinking that I was a little boy. So you got to be careful when you let your kids play online, you know, and if you got females and you're going to let them play video games online, you know, make sure that they understand not to get involved with those type of people. You know what I mean? But sorry for rambling there. I just wanted to bring that up. But to go on to your question, and when you ask, you know, how do I feel about people in the conscious community, or even just in the Black community, period, who don't protect women by speaking up for them and not keeping their word. I'm gonna be honest, like it's like I expected. I'm actually more shocked if a dude do speak up for me than if they don't. And I'm just being honest, just for me, speaking for me personally. You know, maybe other females, they're surrounded by those type of men that have a certain standard that they keep, and maybe they were raised a certain way, so they just always are like that. But yo, the people that I, you know, was around, like, they didn't speak up for me. I had to speak up for myself. You know what I mean? And, you know, I always appreciated when, you know, a brother does speak up for me, because, you know, you feel like you're not alone. You feel like they have your back. You know what I mean? And I would say that why the people that don't speak up or don't protect the women, you know what I mean? I feel like it could be one of many things. They could be scared, you know, because some people are scared. Some people, you know what I mean? I know me personally, I'm not a type of person that like to be, you know, arguing people to death and fighting them, and you damn near about to fight the person and all that. I am not a violent person at all. I do not, encourage, the violence and wanting to harm people just because you have a disagreement. You know what I mean? But I think some people, they may be scared and they don't want to get into an arguing match with someone or put themselves in harm's way and feel like they may end up having to fight the person because they just won't just put their foot down and just say, hey, this is unacceptable. Some people, they may be agreeing with it. They agree with the behavior. They've been influenced by the sexism and misogyny and they're okay with it. They think, yeah, girl, you need to stay in your place. When men are talking, you don't need to be talking. When men are having a conversation, you need to be quiet. You need to be in the kitchen. You need to be doing this. You need to be over there. You know what I mean? And, sometimes, when a woman, may call out, may just make it known that, hey, certain behavior is taking place or a certain, like a certain behavior is taking place or a certain interaction is taking place that is a bit uncomfortable or not okay, then we get put down. Oh, well, you know what? This is why I don't deal with women. This is why I don't want women around me, because I can't handle when they point out stuff that I actually am doing that I don't want you to break my denial and my confirmation, cognitive bias that everything that I do is always right and always okay. Right. And it could be, like I said, it could be a multitude of things, and then of course, when a group of dudes get together, sometimes it does happen where they talk differently about women when it's just the boys than when the women come around. And I think that if all men would stand together and say, hey, we're not going to condone this type of behavior. We're not going to allow it. We're not going to, make it seem okay. If you make people feel uncomfortable about it, they're either going to switch up and stop acting like that, or they're going to go and be around other people that condone that type of behavior. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, I mean, I'm used to it. It doesn't shock me, when people, make the slight remarks. Like I said, when I used to game all the time, they'll make slick remarks all the time. You know what I mean? Like, damn, girl, you want to have sex with me? Like, oh, you're upset about this, that, or the third. Like, you know what? I got this D for you. I got something for you that'll taper you down some. And people don't realize how sexist those kind of remarks are. And I used to get so angry about that shit years ago. I used to go all the way in on people that would do that. Right. But like nowadays, I just let it roll off because I'm just like, you're not finna take me out of my character just because something's wrong with you.
That's crazy. I hate that you feel like that you become desensitized and this behavior has become the normal, where you feel like that if you surrounded around some men, that if someone insulted you or tried to harm you, that man, they would just stand there and look and not say nothing or do anything. But real quick, man, Sheffrin says when men comes with a certain amount of aggression, every man is not going to treat you like a daddy, little princess. So it's good to stay out of men's way until you are in a safe space. Wow. Let me ask you.
Well, I'll respond to that real quick.
I do too. Like, because
of course, women can be aggressive too. But basically, that's condoning and justifying toxic masculinity right there.
Right, bad behavior. So
you're justifying it because you want to act like that.
Right. So I'm gonna ask you, Sheffrin, how do you treat? I think you got a daughter. I think you got a wife. And a lot of times I see stuff on here, and I see the way that they disrespect the women. So I'm 9 times, and I'm not saying it's you, but 9 times out of 10, majority of these men on here, these so-called conscious men on here, powerful men or whatever you call them, they do the same thing in their real life. They disrespect their wife. They disrespect their girlfriend. They a deadbeat father to their damn daughter. They cussing about child support. They not spending no time with their daughters. They not showing their daughters what they supposed to look like. So I mean, that's just an excuse for me being aggressive. You know what I'm saying? We gotta stop. We gotta stop condoning like bad behavior and making excuses for men, because you wouldn't want your daughter. You know what I'm saying? So she's supposed to be quiet or can't go nowhere till she feel like she in a safe space. She should be able to go wherever she want to go. A woman should be able to go wherever she want to go, and a man should be a man wherever he at. And if he sees something that ain't right, where this woman is supposed to be protected, or she didn't deserve whatever it is that this man is trying to do to, you should be a man and you should stand up for that. Even if you don't know the sister, you should be able, you should be willing to stand up and protect that woman. You see what I'm saying? At all costs, that I'm saying, we have adopted these foreign ideologies. And like I said, a lot of what comes out of these institutions that we talk down on, but we still have the mindset. We still are being practitioners of the stuff. Even though you don't call yourself a Muslim, you don't call yourself a Christian, you don't call yourself a Jew or a Hebrew or whatever, the train of thought that you come out, you still have those practices. You still are putting those things into practice. Just because you say you something, you still may be that same thing that you're running from because of your mindset, because of those same practices. So I just think that just is I just think that is an excuse, man. And we just got to stop condoning just bad behavior.
I wish things were different. You know what I mean? Because like I said, when I was growing up, like, like, if my dad was here right now to speak, like, I worshiped like my dad. I tried to be exactly like my dad. Like, what would be considered probably to even like a cult like way. I tried to talk like my dad when I was a kid. I tried to write like him. I tried to speak like him. I tried to walk like him. Everything that he wanted to do, I wanted to do. So when he was diving more into the Nation of Islam, I followed right along with him. You know what I mean? He was getting me into books and reading, getting me into being a certain way. You know what I mean? I loved my dad. And he tried to, raise me to treat everyone right and be nice to people. Like, and even though I don't speak that much about my mom, my mom was amazing too. My mom, she was very loving, like I think she was too nice, honestly. And that's probably why I'm like that, like I get a lot of stuff from her, to giving people the benefit of the doubt, always seeing the good in people, always giving people, second, third, and fourth, fifth chances when they don't deserve it. You know what I mean? Giving people clothes off your back, and, letting every mean thing that someone does to you, always letting that slide. Like, I'm getting better at that as an adult, of not letting stuff slide anymore, and just start saying, hey, you know what? I ain't fucking with you no more. I'm staying the heck away from you. You know what I mean?
Right.
I just wish things were different. Like, it shouldn't have to be like that. Like, men shouldn't have to be like, okay, women, we don't want you around. Like, just think about it. When you look at a lot of these different kind of platforms, where are the women? Most of them are scared. Most of them, I'm gonna tell you straight up, most of them scared to come on the panel because they see how the men treat each other. They see like, damn, like, if you're gonna disrespect this dude, you're gonna call him a gang of names, and you're going to, get all into the person's personal life, and like you're really trying to demoralize that person. Like, why would I want to be around that? Like, why would I want to come on the panel just so I can have that done to me too?
Right. And
you know what I mean? And some men, they try to encourage women to stay in that subservient position. You know what I mean? No, just be a follower. Nah, just be a supporter. Just throw money at me. Like,
be quiet and don't.
Yeah, be quiet. And as soon as you say one thing that you disagree with that I do, I'm going all the way in. You a bitch, this, that, and the third. You a slut, this, that, and the third. You attacked me first. You called out a behavior that I actually do. You came at me. You attacked me first, so I'm just attacking back. Come on. Like, we have to be honest with each other. We have to be better, and we have to recognize when we're influenced heavily by a lot of the sexism and misogyny that we pick up from in the society that we live in, and we do it to each other. And I just really wish that we would do better, or at least minimum recognize that it's there, recognize that it's happening. That's the first step. And then, okay, like, how can we improve that?
Oh man, I have the slightest. I had the slightest ideal. I just know that my heart is just different than a lot of, it's different than a lot of people. And not even just different than a lot of people. It's just like studying people's behavior and studying other different cultures. Like when you look at, everybody know that I study in depth with Africa, right? And I'm not saying that Africa doesn't have a patriotic society, because you do have some ethnic groups that has patriotic society, but you have a lot of ethnic groups, African ethnic groups, that has the matriarchal society where women, it's a matriarch society where women.
Yeah, there are a couple of them that still exist even to this day. I was watching a documentary on one a month ago. Right. I dropped in the server, so
right, and even with the patriotic societies, still the woman is revered and held at a high pedestal, right? And it's they got various reasons why the women is held in high regards, and one is especially I could say here in America, when those people that comes out of those institutions said a woman is supposed to be quiet and she's not a teacher, right? In America, we know that is not, we know that's not true, because right now in the Black homes, the women are the mothers and the fathers. The women are raising, the children are in single parent homes, right? So how you can say that the woman is inferior and she can't teach when she's the first teacher? Even if you go back and look at other traditions, the woman is the first teacher. She is teaching the child how to identify with the opposite sex, which is the father. The child is teaching the child its name in certain groups. The community comes up with the name together and give to the child, but then you have some where the community does it, and then you have where the mother and father, because in African tradition, the child can have several or 8 different names. So how can you say that a woman is not a teacher and a woman is supposed to be quiet, and the woman is an inferior? You see what I'm saying? So and a lot of those, like I'm saying, so I'm rooted in the African culture. I don't agree with some stuff, but I believe in some of those stuff that we have to latch on to and we have to attach to, you know what I'm saying? Because again, the women are the teachers. They are our teachers. Even if you look in the school systems now, you have more women that are teaching our kids than men that are teaching our kids. So how can you say that the woman is not a teacher and she's supposed to be quiet? You see, and we do those same things on these same platforms. We drown out the women. You know what I'm saying? And then when a woman tries to be aggressive, now you being a man, so now I'm gonna treat you like a man. Then you go to disrespecting the woman. You see what I'm saying? So I just don't know, man.
Just to add on to what you're saying, Kofi, I don't think it should be like a man or a woman thing. It should just be a human being thing. Just because you're a dude doesn't mean I should be rude and disrespectful to you. I can disagree with you. I can call out whatever I see, just because I'm a woman don't mean, like, oh, I'm going to walk on eggshells. Yo, just talk to me normally, yo.
Right.
Like, don't let the first thing come out your mouth be to try to put me down because I'm a woman, or try to put me down just because I disagree with you, or put me down just because, I'm calling out a behavior that you're doing that you actually are doing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. And I don't know. I would say that, as well, like, I don't think it's 100% the men, women, we mess up too. And I think it just comes to how you're raised. Like, a lot of the stuff that we as women do, it's a defense mechanism, yo. When you're surrounded by sexism all the time, like literally all the time, I do see why we end up doing some of the things that we do, but I still don't think it's okay. And sometimes I have seen certain women that I love and respect, and how they, lash out at people. And I'm like, oh, shit. And I have to say something to them behind the scenes, like, hey, come on, sis. I know that you don't like what the dude said, but you know what I mean? But you can't go lower after he don't already went low. It's already bad enough that he went low, but like, you going even lower. And it's like, how much better that would make you, yo? Like, if you don't go as low as they went. So now people are not even paying attention to the fact that the dude disrespected you first. they're harping on the fact that you went all the way in and over the top, over the top of the dang mountain because, you know, you're mad at how the way that the person came at you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And like I said, women, we can be wrong. You know, we can say things that are uncool. Like we can display the same behaviors that dudes do. Men can be narcissists, women can be narcissists. Men are emotional, women are emotional. All of these are not just human behaviors, these are animal behaviors, yo.
Mm-hmm.
You get jealous, you get upset, you get angry, you have thoughts, you have feelings about things. Things make you upset, things make you proud, things make you happy, things make you laugh. These are all emotions that we all display and have. So I think it's disrespectful whenever I hear a dude continue the same sexist fucking remark. Oh, this dude is acting like a female. Oh, I'm not saying that females are bad. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, that's what you're doing. It's a pejorative. That's like calling somebody a bitch. You know, a bitch is a female dog. Ain't no humans aren't female dogs, but you use it as a pejorative. Calling a female a slut or a broad or a hoe or whatever. Those are pejoratives, yo.
Right.
And those have specific definitions when you look them up. Those are referencing women that actually do those type of behaviors, whether they're sleeping with people or sleeping with multiple people. You know what I mean? And we're not doing that.
Right. I agree with you too, Ogon Bula. I'm the same way. Ogon Bula says a man at the end of the day, a woman can go in on me and I'm such a man that shit don't bother me because I'm still a boss. And I share that same sentiment, bro, because, you know, I have discipline, bro. So, and a lot of men don't have discipline, you know, so I can control my emotions, you know, especially when it comes to a woman. I can control my emotions.
And trust me, I be wanting to cuss people to flip out sometimes. Right. But I know, like, I'm like, damn, like they're about to take me out my element.
Yep.
Don't do that, see.
Yep. And
don't do it. You know, because sometimes people just be upset and sometimes people just feel like they're not being understood or being misheard. So just let them speak.
Yeah. And I'm laughing because, you know, I done, you know, gone in on so many times, you know, for my wife, man, she can get mad and get mad at something I may have did, bro. She can just go in on me, you know what I'm saying? All kind of crazy stuff and sometimes disrespectful stuff. I get mad, but I don't reply and give the same type of energy. I just let her have her, you know, I let her have her moment and, you know, she might say what she say and it might, you know, be disrespectful at times, but I let her have that, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, because them words really don't really affect me. And just because, and at times when you treat a person, when a person gets mad and you don't indulge and give them the same energy, sometimes it'll just dissipate. And then when cooler heads prevail, you can come back and you can go ahead and you can talk about it, man. So, you know, I like I said, I done had it go in on me all the times and I don't give them that same energy back. I don't disrespect, you know, my woman at no particular point. Even any woman that I've been with, they can tell you that no matter what, Kofi has never been, you know, disrespectful. I done called them all types of, you know, derogatory names or even put my hands on them and try to harm them in any type of a way. That's just what type of dude I am. I just raised, I feel like that's what a man is. A man is supposed to protect. Like I said, if I can see a person on the street, don't know this woman, but if I see someone who is doing something that's not right to a woman, you know what I'm saying, and they dead in the wrong, I'm gonna stand up for that woman, regardless if I know her, you know, I know her or not, man. So, you know, I share that same sentiment, man.
I think it should just be a human thing. Like,
right. And you
yo, like we're all humans, and if we're all black people and we're supposed to support our people, it's like, damn, like let's try to do right by each other. But we also got to be honest, like when we do things that's like crazy as hell, that's like way off the deep end.
Right. And you keep saying human, right? You keep saying human. And I done talked about this and done wrote about this in 2 books, you know, about how, you know, and I'm just resorting back to this because this is what I study. So I'm staying in my lane. I'm speaking about the things that I know for as what I study, things that I have been a practitioner of and wasn't, and you know, or still a practitioner of, or some things that I might have shied away from when I was a practitioner. But, you know, and we can talk about this a little bit more in other questions because I want to kind of move on. But you know, in African culture, you know, we talk about, I know, and a lot of people, for some reason, man, the word good character, if you notice it, I want y'all to pay attention to this too. I know y'all go on other people's platforms and watch their content. And I also want to say this too. I never ever said, for the record, I never ever told anybody not to go on nobody other platform. I said what I do. I always say what I do. I don't go over there and listen to this platform, that platform, that platform. I might even say why I don't, but I never encourage nobody to do what I'm doing. Never. But the word, when you go on, look, the word good character has become a curse word in this online community. It has become a curse word. People, when you say this word, just listen when this word good character come up, just see how people just go off. You know what I'm saying? When you hear this
because
word.
It's subconscious. People start thinking subconsciously, like, damn, are you talking about me?
Right. So it's cuss word. But in African culture, cultivating good character is a part of the culture. And I'm not saying Iwa Pele, you know what I'm saying, which is gentle character, and Iwa Riwi, which is good character, when we're talking about the Yoruba people and their traditions of Sheshe, right? But good character is embedded in any African culture, right? And is building character. And I talk about how when we're looking at it from a philosophical standpoint and from a scientific standpoint, we know what the two are. So in African culture, one is trying to raise one to be the highest human being as possible. So they create these values, they create these morals, they create these ethics, they create these principles, right? And within that is those morals and those principles is teaching you to certain things, to acknowledge someone else's existence, to acknowledge that person is there by speaking to them, you know what I'm saying, speaking eloquent to these people, or being concerned about people, being compassionate about people. So there's so many different things up under the word good character. But one, in African culture, in order to be considered a person or a human being, one must possess good character. One must possess a moral fiber. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm not saying that within this culture that it worked for the entire culture. We know that didn't work, but that's what was the main goal, was to raise people to be the highest human being as possible, to be human. And with being a human, it comes with these different characteristics. It comes with these different traits. But in order to get these different characteristics and these traits, one must become a practitioner of these things. One must embrace these things in everyday life, because we can talk about things every day, all day. I can quote all type of stuff, right? But if I don't put those things into practice, right, then I'm just quoting things and I know these things, but I'm not putting it into practice where it becomes applicable in my own life. So now when I put certain things into practice, that things that have been passed down through us, and it don't have to be just from an African culture position, it can be from a position from us being in our home. My grandmother passing certain morals and ethics down to me on how I supposed to treat a person, how I supposed to treat a woman, how I supposed to respect those who are older than me. You know what I'm saying? How I supposed to value certain people who set the right standards in our community and set the right standards for our kids. So it's things that is passed down, and those things that are passed down, they have to make it applicable and become practitioners of these things and embrace these things and act upon these things on an everyday basis until you able to develop and build and cultivate the character. Because you mentioned animal a while ago. So we are at our wildest state, what they call a it in African culture. You are considered an it. or an animal until you come out of that animal state when you're passed down these certain values, you're passed down these certain moral codes, you pass down certain ethics, but even morals and ethics have become a cuss word in this online conscious community. I'm telling you, y'all, pay attention now. Anytime someone mentioned good character, building good character, ethics, moral principle, watch how certain people look and it becomes a cuss word and they start deflecting and saying all other types of stuff and then start assassinating people who actually are standing on their square and trying to exhibit those types of morals and ethics by treating people, right, treating those the way you want to be treated. You see what I'm saying? But like I said, some of those people in their everyday life, they treat people like that. They treat their families like that. They treat their wife like that. They treat their kids like that. They treat the people in their community like that. They treat their neighbors like that. They treat the people that they work with like that. They're just who they are. And so when they come on this thing, people be fooled because we using these certain words and these certain terms. We believe that these people are. These people have morals and ethics intact, and these people are for the people and the betterment of the people and building people up and not tearing people down because we using these certain words, conscious community, the woke community, or they on certain platforms that people say that this is the conscious community or this is the online woke community or whatever the case. So we're getting caught up in these words and thinking these people who they are, but they just showing you who they are in everyday life. Everyday life, these are who these people are. So,
and it's kind of sad because I think, like, even I'm guilty of it, holding people in higher regard than they actually are, or thinking that they're a lot better than they actually are. And, maybe you just don't know them well enough to know, like, their true colors of what they're truly about. And it's like, well, damn, like, okay, I guess I am not the best judge of character that I thought I was. You know what I mean? And then, sometimes it just be like, like people are growing, you know what I mean? Even myself, I have no problem with anybody calling me out or pulling me to the side and talking to me. You know what I mean? I am an open book. I am not hard to get a hold of. I am on Facebook. I am on the Discord server. I am on Xbox if people got Xbox. You know what I mean? Like, I have an email address. I have my own WordPress blog. You know what I mean? People that know of me have a way to get a hold of me. If it was something that serious, to where you feel like, damn, you don't understand why I did something. You don't understand why I said something. You don't understand, where my thought process at. You know what I mean? Just talk to me. I have no reason to lie. You know what I mean? I have no ulterior motives. You know what I mean? I'm just me. I'm always keep it 100. And I'm vocal. You know what I mean? I'm vocal. It's hard for me to fake the funk and pretend like, I'm okay when I'm not. Right.
No doubt. And Kevin Chill heard piece, Jama, Kevin Chill heard, he said, I'm disappointed that anybody would feel that it's good character is a curse word. I'm telling you, watch what I'm telling you now. Watch when this word come up, how certain people ball their faces up and look crazy and then go in on the word, you know what I'm saying? And then, or go in on the people that actually try to exhibit it. Watch. But let's go on, man, because we you know what I'm saying?
We stayed on that for a minute. That was a hot button.
Yeah, that was. Man,
I think that was question number 6 that we were on.
No, we was on 5. But we gonna kind of move and flow.
Yeah, we were on 5 and then you went to 6.
No,
you went to 6.
Oh yeah, I'm on 6 right now.
Oh.
Yeah, 6 is research methodology important. And before,
oh crud, that's my bad. I started typing some stuff up and I think I messed the numbers up.
Yeah, it's all good. But and I'm asking that because you are one that I see possess research methodology. I feel like just the conversations that we have and even some of the presentations that you have and even the good one that you actually did today, I should have pulled that one up. I'm gonna pull it up too while you talk. But which was the one you did today that y'all premiered on the Pseudo Killas today was what you already know. I already told you that it's an excellent presentation for people that hadn't seen the presentation. It's on Pseudo Killas. They uploaded it today. So go check out that presentation. It is an excellent presentation. But by me been talking to you over the past maybe 2 years, you try to wield the command of information. And I feel like just talking to you that you understand what research methodology is and you understand how important it is. So can you talk about it? And I could be wrong. Do you feel that research methodology is important? And if it is, could you explain why?
Yes, sir. I would say yes. I think that everyone, whether you agree or you don't agree, should be working toward having some type of research methodology. I do agree that that it probably should be broken down into smaller pieces for like regular folks, because the only people that are really truly doing some type of research methodology is like scientists, academics, researchers. And you do learn about the whole research methodological process in high school a little bit. They kind of go over it. You really don't get into it really until like college, probably only if you take certain courses in college. So, of course I graduated from high school. I got 2 degrees at my college here in town. I got a associate's degree in criminology and a bachelor's degree in business organizational management, specializing in public safety. And just some of the courses I just remember taking where they kind of went over the different ways to research. And a lot of times it would be like the requirements that your professor would have for your research paper or for your thesis paper, or, oh my God, my capstone thesis. Like when I did my bachelor's degree, man, like that capstone thesis did something to me. Like I never want to write anything that long, like ever again in my life. Like that was miserable. And I think why it was so miserable is because the job I was working at the time, I was working a lot of double shifts. I almost didn't graduate, and it was like damn near 30 pages, son, of information. And, like your professors, they teach you, to try to get 2 sources from, a .edu or a .gov site. Make sure you use 2 books. Make sure you use, you follow this bibliographic format. Make sure you have a annotated bibliography, and you're citing using this type of citation and all that good stuff. You learn all of that, in high school and definitely in college. Right. And I feel like everybody should try to get into the whole research methodology thing, getting better with it, because if you didn't go to school, you may not be up to date on it. And maybe if you did go to school, you could have forgotten that stuff, because like once you get out of college, like you working to death, so you working 40 plus hours, you're not really using that stuff that you learned in school anymore, so you can forget a lot of it. Right, and I think that following some type of research methodology, it gives you a framework. It gives you a pathway. It gives you like directions and instructions so that you can make sure that you're being honest, so you can make sure that you're being accurate, and you can make sure that, you are, have some type of, I guess you could say, integrity in whatever you're trying to do and present. And I really am thankful for like a lot of the teachers and professors that I had from, high school, even going into college, that, kind of reiterated certain patterns of a way to like write something, or to a way to present something. I still do a lot of things to this day. Like this one professor I had, I'll give you an example. Her name was Cynthia Moody. I don't know, she's kind of old, so I don't know if she's still alive anymore. But it was something that I learned in her business class when I was originally a business major before I became a criminology major. That where she talked about using gender and language. And she tried to always encourage us to not use he or she whenever we speak or whenever we write something. Because a lot of people don't realize like the sexist language that we use, because we always get used to saying he. Even though you're talking about women, he, whenever like you're writing something. So she would always say, hey, instead of saying that, say individual, or say people, or say stuff like that. Like my high school English teacher, damn it, what was his name? John Peters? Yeah, Mr. Peters. he used to always instill in us whenever we wrote to not say I think or I believe when you write something, because he would always be like, when you say that, it kind of weakens your argument. It weakens what you're trying to say and what you're trying to get across. So people take it as what you're trying to present as your opinion and not as like a fact that you're trying to establish. So he would always tell us like, oh, don't say you think or say you believe. Always say, you know, you agree, or that you would or you would say, or you would. So you'll notice like I talk like that. Like I still like even like write and talk like that to this day. And he taught me that all the way back, you know, then.
Right.
That kind of stuff. And like even when I got into college, you know, I can't remember the English teacher that I had. I can't remember her name. Oh my gosh, she was strict. Christ. I'm surprised I passed that class. That lady was strict as heck. But she used to always try to make us have this framework, and you learn it in high school too, but she always tried to have us have this framework of, you know, in your first paragraph, you talk about what you're going to talk about in the rest of your paragraphs. You always talk about the who, what, when, where, and why. You know what I mean? And like she just drilled that into us to make sure that we had some kind of direction and some kind of, I guess, path to kind of keep us from diverting and talking about other things whenever we presented whatever essay that we wrote to turn into her.
Right. Hey, what we gonna do? That's excellent, because you just, for people, I hope people was listening to, like, you kind of like drop some jewels for people that may, like you said, that may not been out of school a long time. You know what I'm saying? Or
yeah, man, Unc had to pull my card. He asked me a question about DNA, and I was like I remember learning about it in high school, but in college, but I was like, I forgot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or, you know, and Sutek said they not in his high school. So some of these steps that they didn't teach while he was at high school, he said. So, but I just hope people paid attention, because you did drop a jewel, you know what I'm saying? Even in the form of, you know, when researching, or even when you're presenting some information, like you're saying, I believe, because I do the same thing. And if I do, and we'll move on, if I think it's my opinion, people will hear me all the time say, this is my opinion. This is no one else's opinion but Kofi's opinion. So I'll give my opinion, you know. But if it's something, you know, I don't use the word, but like you said, believe, I would say I agree. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or the consensus agree. I've looked at particular works, and according to these works, the consensus agrees. So, you know, and I might say, therefore, I agree because of the consensus, and I might go into depth why I'm agreeing with the consensus, or what steps I took in order for me to come to my conclusion and say, hey, yes, I agree with these, with the consensus, because it's, a lot of times you just can't, you have to have a form of the steps and the method. You can't just say, I'm just no shot to nobody, but I'm just saying, we just can't say, leave it up to the experts. We have to do our due diligence and follow the steps and the methods to see how one that we're calling the experts to how did they come up with their conclusion? You know what I'm saying? So you know, that was
I think that schools could do better with that too, Kofi, because when I was in high school and even when I was in college, I don't remember being taught how to properly vet a source. I don't recall being taught, actually, I don't think it's even in the curriculum, about teaching people how to vet a source, or who is an expert and all that good stuff. Like, we weren't taught that. You basically just had, these are the requirements for your research paper, these are the requirements for your essay, and you had to follow that format. Yep. So you could have wrote some stuff that is completely wrong. Your teacher did not care about that. The professor, I'm telling y'all, or at least back when I was in school, they did not care about whether whatever you was presenting or whatever you was teaching in your essay or your research paper, whether it was correct or not. As long as you followed the format that they told you to do, you made sure that you met all the requirements of what you had to have in your research paper, you passed. And your grammar is on point, your spelling is on point, you citing it like the way that they told you to cite it, you're gonna pass.
Yep. It's this. I don't know about every college. I've been out of school, out of college, maybe three and a half years. I went back to school, and I'm going to get back in because I'm going to be a professor. And everybody knew from the beginning. I've been saying I was in school when I first came on the scene. It's just been three and a half years, maybe like that. But that's what they was doing when I was in school. You know, just a couple of years ago, they were still doing that same thing you're talking about. Yeah. But and for the time's sake, because because I want to be respectful to Sean, because Sean has a show too, following after him. He has his set. So we're going to kind of move kind of swiftly, but some of the questions I may not ask, some of them I may ask, but let's go into I want to talk about logical fallacies. Can you
dive in? I'll try to be quick.
Yeah, kind of speak on logical fallacies. I see that. Oh, Sean says he's not home. Okay, you're not home. Okay, I'm just trying to be respectful to you, brother. So, but let's just go to logical fallacies. Though, can you speak briefly on logical fallacies? I'm because you did something a while back, if I'm not mistaken. You ain't no mistaken. You did something on logical fallacies. Didn't you do a presentation on logical fallacies last year?
Yes, sir. Okay. I'm gonna actually give everyone the story behind why I ended up doing it too. I'm gonna try to be as quick as possible.
That's fine. But hold on. Sorry, because before you go in, because I know you fit to go in. And but because and I'm saying that because that was also an excellent presentation that you did as well. You know what I'm saying? That I think people probably didn't pay attention to, as well as the presentation that you just put together and put on the channel. And I see this a lot right now. I see logical fallacies everywhere. So, go ahead, talk about why you came up with that, and, kind of school us on what is, logical fallacies, because again, as we interview each other and people getting to know you and in the same sense, I want to make it educational for people that may not know, like, what is, we talked about methodology. So that was kind of good. You kind of went through what you went through with the methodology and why it was important. So let's talk about the logical fallacies.
Copy. I'm gonna actually walk y'all, but I'm gonna be quick with it. When I was in the Nation of Islam as a kid, and I started thinking for myself, like as I got into high school, and I was like, I can't get down with the religion. I'm not doing this anymore. Like I said, I didn't know I was an atheist back then. Then boom, I got into college and I started, getting into like the YouTube thing. You start watching YouTube videos, YouTube was just popping out, just starting to pop up and, blow up around that time. I ended up coming in contact with this, I ended up coming across one of these videos called The Atheist Experience by Matt Dillahunty. And then that's when I kind of discovered that, oh shit, I'm an atheist. And I was like, oh, okay. I got it. You know what I mean? And then I saw when I was in, college, I saw a course for logic, and then they had another course called philosophy. And I just remember Matt Dillahunty talking about that. I watched other people too, like Dusty, Coda Dusty, and I forgot the dude's name, Shiv. He used to do the one video called "These are 10 things that I noticed since last time," and it usually was atheist focused, but he does other stuff nowadays. His name was called Shiv something. I forgot his name. So I ended up signing up, and I can't even remember my professor's name. I ended up signing up for the philosophy course and learning so much about like logical fallacies, philosophy. I'm sorry to say, but these courses did not focus on Africana studies or African philosophies. So I learned about Immanuel Kant, John Locke, Aristotle, Socrates, and you ended up liking or not liking certain philosophers for whatever reason. And I ended up falling in love with a lot of the philosophical work from David Hume. Of course, I didn't find out literally until like within the past few years that the dude was super racist and sexist. But like, they don't teach you that in college. They just teach you the work. Like, this is what they taught. This is the philosophical work that they taught. They don't focus on like their personal views and stuff like that. And I feel like that's a detriment because you end up, idolizing somebody that ain't worth the being idolized. You know what I mean? And I still have his books to this day that I've read. So just to bring you down to the present, New Black Knowledge, True Storian, Rawborn, Seneb, they were beating up the abos. You know what I mean? I had never really heard of these folks before. I remember watching one of Dan Calloway's videos back in 2013, 2016, somewhere back there. I think it was 2016. And I thought he was cool. And then he started saying, African slavery didn't happen. I stopped watching him. I was like, I can't do this no more. This dude is tripping. And fast forward into 2019, man, the abos got a whole movement, using logical fallacies to death. So it was a good brother that, was a hardcore follower and subscriber of New Black Knowledge, brother Gullah Juice. He was on the panel with True Storian, and he had asked True Storian, like, hey, man, these dudes, they be using all these crazy logical fallacies, man. Like, can y'all do a video about like some of these things that they're doing? Like, I think people don't understand like these behaviors that they doing. Like, it's wild. True Storian, I think, ended up doing some video around that time about, how to spot a pseudo. He did that video around that time. And I told Gullah, I said, hey, you kind of give me an idea. I think I'm going to do something similar to what you're suggesting. And originally, the first video I did, Appeal to Authority, it was originally going to go on MBK's channel, because Brother Unc, he was, kind of encouraging me, to try to be more involved with MBK, and that I should start doing, stuff, with them and, on them. You know what I mean? But I changed my mind at the last minute and decided to put it on the Pseudo Killas channel. So I pitched it to Unc, and I said, hey, Unc, what you think about this? Man, like, they thought it was fire. He showed it to the group. They thought it was fire. Man, oh man, this is off the chain. It's fire. CK, man, we putting it on the channel. And then I decided to just continue it from there. I started with, like I said, Appeal to Authority, because I feel like when it comes to any pseudoscience, conspiracy theory, anti-vaxxers, or even people that are pushing, like pseudo anthropology or pseudo history, like you see with the abos, you know what I mean? They always appeal to false authorities. And I feel like that's the number one thing that they do. So I thought, like, you know what? I think people need to recognize that this is something that people do, and like why it isn't okay, why you should try to avoid it, why people probably do it. You know what I mean? Let's show you some examples in the Black community of people doing this. Then in the next one, I decided to do a burden of proof, because I noticed when it came to people in these spheres, especially in the conscious community, they would never have proof for their claims. Like, even Unc will attest to like how he became popular and how he, used to bang on people. Yo, you need to have a source. You need to source up or shut the hell up. You know what I mean? And I felt like, burden of proof, that was probably one of the hardest presentations of videos I've ever done. You know what I mean? Because it was just so much information and so much stuff that I had to condense, and it was still too long. You know what I mean? And I felt like people needed to know, like, hey, like, why do people need to present proof for their claims? When is somebody making a claim? Yo, you have to be careful when you're dealing with people that's making a claim. So if Kofi were to say, African people, are intelligent or this or that and the third, and if I was to clap back at you, Kofi, and say that's not true, I am now making a claim. So now I got to provide evidence for my claim, because I just made a claim by saying that no, that's not true.
Right.
So that's why you have to say, you can't say that it's false or it's not true. This is why, like with atheists, they always say in regards to the religious thing, they don't say, hey, that, you think that God exists and all that. They don't say it's not true. They'll say, hey, you have not presented me evidence to prove that it's true. So you're not really making a claim. You're saying that, hey, I'm waiting for you to have that burden of proof, since you made the original claim, to provide us evidence for, your premise or whatnot. Mm-hmm. And then the most recent video I did, which I originally started at the beginning of last year, after I was originally going to do a video on appeal to ignorance and appeal to emotion, and I was going to do a part 2 to appeal to authority, but I scrapped all of those and decided to do ad hominem because of some of the behaviors that we were seeing among people that, that we hold near and dear, and that we love and we love and respect them. But then when they get to doing exactly what the video was about, ad hominems, I had to do that video, because we're all guilty of doing ad hominems. And out of all the logical fallacies, I feel like that is the hardest one to avoid, even for myself. I am guilty of committing ad hominem attacks fallaciously and non-fallaciously, and I may do it in the future.
Can
So
I
you'll
get
see some more. A definition of what?
Ad hominem real quick for people that may not know what ad hominem is.
Ad hominem, is Latin. It's Latin for against the man.
Right.
A lot of these logical fallacies and philosophies, they kind of started in, Greek society or Roman society. And it basically translates to you are basically against the character of the person instead of being against the claim of the person.
Yeah, it says it occurs when someone attacks directly the person making the argument rather than criticizing the argument itself.
Copy. So in that video, Kofi, I was going to tell you, in that video that I did for ad hominem, I made sure I went like you'll notice in some of my videos, I repeat the same thing over and over again. And it's very important that I do that because people need to just get it in their head. Like, yo, you need to remember this. This is important. So towards the end of that video, I always try to have a section, if I can help it, on when is there an exception? Like, when is it okay for you to do ad hominem attacks? You know what I mean? And I tried to make that very clear. Yo, it's not necessarily like we should avoid ad hominem attacks. And it's not necessarily that you shouldn't do ad hominem attacks. The main problem that makes it fallacious is when you use an ad hominem attack against somebody and you never address their claim. So yes, if this person is ignorant, if this person, is exhibiting the Dunning-Kruger effect and they don't know what they're talking about, okay, fine, cool. If it's true, it's true. But still, you need to make sure that you address their claim. Make sure you dagger them up.
Right. Exactly. Can I give some of the common logical fallacies?
Oh, by all means.
Okay. And it's ad hominems, just as she said. Straw man. We see a lot of straw mans also. Appealing to authority. We see a lot of that. Slippery slopes. Bandwagons. We see a lot of that. Appealing to ignorance. We see a lot of that. False dilemmas. Hasty generalization. Red herrings. We see a lot of that. Appealing to tradition. Now, I want to speak on this real quick, the appealing to traditions, and I'll let you go back in. Now, I'm reading for people want to know what I'm reading. I'm reading off of Sister CK's presentation that she did that y'all should go and watch and look at it. Great I said I'm gonna sound not great, but excellent. So appealing to authority, which is number 10, it says when one claims that something appealing to tradition, so when one claims that something must be good or true because it has been practiced for a long time, when one claims that something must be good or true because it has been practiced for a long time, that is traditional, right?
Yeah,
so
it pretty much goes in the same sphere as appeal to authority. Appeal to tradition, appeal to populism, appeal to I forgot there's one more that I talk about at the beginning of appeal to authority video.
Right, but I want to address this because everybody knows that like this platform, the other platform that I'm involved with, the Mossy Warrior Clan and Kofi Piesie research team, majority of our studies is on African tradition, African customs, and so forth. And a lot of people make the claims that we fall up under appealing to traditions, right? And again, when one claims that something must be good or true because it has been practiced for a long time, and me talking to some people say that we fall up under this ram, I'm like, how? And the reason why I say that is how is because, and I don't want to elaborate on it too much, but it is because it let me know that they hadn't looked at any of our videos. If you go back, it's about 230 or 250 some videos on this channel. It's about 200 and something plus on the Mossy Warrior Clan. So we've been doing this a long time. We didn't just start doing this last month, a few months ago. We've been doing this for a couple of years, at least since 2016. So we have done a lot of content. So we've seen a lot of people come, we've seen a lot of people go, and a lot of people that's been here for a few years, they say that we fall up under this thing when you mention common logical fallacies. So you never heard us say or deem that because something is traditional and has been practiced for a long period of time that it is actually true, because it has been practiced for a long. It's been practiced traditionally.
Y'all aren't committing that fallacy,
right? We're not committing that, but you
but
have.
This is how you would, though. I'm gonna help you out. So, this is how you would.
Okay.
If and only if the only way that y'all would be appealing to tradition is if and only if the only reason why you think that everyone should follow, Iwa Pile, Iwa Riri, good character and all that stuff, or whatever it is that you're listing, from African traditions, only because Africans have been practicing it for X amount of years. If that's the only reason that you're giving, then yes, you would be appealing to tradition. But if you say that and then you go more detailed and say, hey, this is why we should, follow this, it's not just because, our African ancestors did it, but because this instills this type of practice. This encourages us to treat each other better and blah, blah, blah. You're not appealing to tradition. You're going into more detail. You're actually giving evidence and sources and references as to why that's the case.
Right. And that's exactly, I'm glad. And that's exactly what we do. And even with that, if certain people knew, and certain people that say we fall up under this, right? Because that lets me know they hadn't listened or looked at any of our presentations. That's cool too. But in African traditions, there is no proselytization. That lets me know too that people don't even read the articles or even read the books. You know what I'm saying? Proselytization is not a part of what we call in Kimoyo or African traditional religion. No African ethnic group will try to do like the Western religion does. My God is the high God. My God, you should be following my God. Your God is inferior to my God. So, or they set up missionaries where they go out and try to spread the word of Jesus and Christianity and try to convince those that their way of life is trash and garbage and God or Jesus is the way. That is what those Western religion does. They don't do that. They don't force what they actually believe or their traditions on someone else or say their traditions are better and yours are not. That is not what African traditions or customs are people that are practitioners of a Sheshe or a Gulu Wankulu or a Kumi, Fataruk, Odinani, so forth. They don't proselytize. They don't try to convert people. They don't try to convince people that their way of life is not it, and this is what you should be following, and you must follow this, or you're going to be condemned to a fiery pit of hell. That is not what they do. So I'm kind of glad you kind of tilled it up, and I kind of wanted to address that too, so people can, those people can can stop saying that or believe, and that's something that they believe, you know what I'm saying, and believe is accepting something without knowing, surrendering something without facts, proof, and evidence. You see what I'm saying? So they can have the facts, the proof, and the evidence if they look at our videos and see that, hey, that ain't what we do, so we don't fall up under that realm of one of those common logical fallacies of appealing to tradition because we love African culture or we love Africa in general. See?
Yeah, if people aren't taught those things, I think that's very important, the logical fallacies and critical thinking. I had a critical thinking class when I was in middle school, and man, that teacher was awesome. I think his name was Mr. Bondank. I can't remember his name, but I think that those are very important. I feel like that should be like a requirement in all levels of school, like barely introduce them to the kids in elementary school, kind of bring it up in middle school, reinforce it in high school, and dive more deep into the philosophy like Kant and all of them in college, because I think that because we don't get the proper education in school, or maybe all schools are not on the same level on what they're presenting, because a lot of times, sometimes it has to do with the professor. like whatever professor or teacher you have, if they don't go over those things, you just happen to miss out on that. And I think that if a lot of people get taught that stuff at a younger age, they won't get duped and confused once they become adults. You won't be, get caught slipping by the conspiracy theorists and the pseudoscience. You won't get duped and confused by these politicians, because you'll notice that politicians use all of these logical fallacies heavy, especially things like bandwagoning and populism. They use it heavy, yo. And ad hominems, they use it heavy. You're not even addressing, we ain't even talking about policies. We ain't even talking about what you're going to do for the people. You're just talking about what this person did a year ago. Not saying that it's not important, though, because like I said in the ad hominem video back in January, that it's not necessarily an ad hominem attack if you're calling people out on something and it's actually relevant to what we're talking about. So yes, Donald Trump, when you have a history of, fraud, and you have a history of, not being a trustworthy person, yeah, we might want to think twice about letting you become president, because your history and your pattern of behavior, is what's the word I'm looking for? It's related or has something to do with what you're trying to do today. Right.
Yeah, you're right. I got just two more questions, and we gonna end it too, because I gotta get out of here too and go get these kids something to eat. But what is a pseudo killer?
Copy. I would say, like, of course, everyone is gonna have like, their own, I guess you could say, like, definition of what a pseudo killer is. Unc always tells the story about, how he got to using the word pseudo and like who influenced him to use that. And like, he just was the one that made it popular, using pseudo, I guess you could say, as a pejorative to a degree. But let's just call it like it is. The word pseudo is Latin. It's a prefix, for false or not genuine. And, a killer is somebody that's killing the false, the fake, the non-genuine stuff. So me being a pseudo killer, I'm proud to be a pseudo killer. I'm happy to be a part of my group. I'm not going to say we do everything 100%. We're always on point behavior wise, but I still love my group. I'm still happy to be a part of my group. And I'm still happy that I'm glad that, Unc saw something in me to have me be a part of something, and to see like where we could all go in regards to correcting the misinformation. Anybody can be a pseudo killer. We just may not call you a pseudo killer. We'll call you a pseudo. I mean, I'll be like, nah, you can't be a pseudo killer. You know what I mean? This is our group. We the pseudo killers, but you could be a pseudo slayer. You know what I mean? If you want to be a pseudo killer, you want to be a pseudo slayer, you got to start off slow. You got to be willing to identify the misinformation. You have to be willing to call out the misinformation, whether it's from somebody you like and know, whether it's somebody that's your friend, your family. I'm not saying be rude and disrespectful to them. And even I've had to work on that over the years of putting someone down just because they're pushing misinformation. If you would have caught me 10 years, if you would have caught me 10 years ago, I would have been following some conspiracy theories. I would have been pushing some borderline, which would have been considered, racist ideology. And, we all have to work on getting rid of that stuff. But I feel like us as pseudo killers, we should be devoid of pseudosciences. We should be devoid of the conspiracy theories. We're supposed to be the ones to correct that. We're supposed to be the ones to call that stuff out. So even any regular folks out there, you see somebody posting some craziness on Facebook, call it out. Hey, I'm just letting you know, good brother, whomever, a good sister, whomever, that this information that you posted is not factual. And I'm going to show you why. Here, I'm going to drop this source for you. I'm going to drop this video for you. I try to have sources, like Unc has encouraged me to try to have to archive my sources and keep them, because you can't remember everything. And I'm terrible at remembering stuff. I'm quick to pull something up like, I don't remember. I don't remember the definition of this word. Hey, I don't remember how to spell this word. Let me look this up instead of me just making up my own thing on the spot. You know what I mean? It's good to have stuff that's in written form and in video form, because you never know. Some people learn things differently. some people, maybe they don't like to read, or maybe that's not how they comprehend stuff. Like they need visuals. So having it in a video format, they could just watch it. And as you know, most people don't like to flip and read. Most people ain't finna sit up here and read no 10, 20-page science journal. And then they can't understand half the words in it or the concepts. You know what I mean? So you gotta, start on a lower level to kind of help people on.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So to me, being a pseudo killer is about identifying the misinformation, correcting the misinformation, giving people the factual information, and helping them along. Because we all should be striving to making our people better. You know what I mean? You shouldn't just let your brother or let your sister continue believing in some misinformation because they've been falsely influenced. And try, and like, Queen Cheetah used to always say, Queen Cheetah would say, hey, we got to be patient with our people. We used to be pseudo ourselves, and we have to be patient with them. They may not get it this year. It may take them another year or two. Shoot, they may not get it no time soon. I'm not gonna lie, like the pseudo stuff that I used to believe, I had to correct that misinformation myself. I didn't have somebody like a Unc or a True Storian or a Rob Bourne or any of the sisters like Sister Kaba or Dr. Mayat to pull me to the side and talk to me and say, hey, where did you get this information from? You do realize that this is false, and I'm gonna show you why. I didn't have someone to do that for me. I had to find out on my own, like, dang, when people got the question to me and I couldn't answer their question, so I tried to look it up. And then I was like, okay, so I don't have no proof for this. Like, damn, like, I don't know if I can continue believing this. Like, there's no proof for it. Yeah. It's just propaganda. And I felt bad. I had to apologize on I think it was MySpace at the time before it was Facebook, or maybe it was Facebook. I can't remember. It could have been both. I had to apologize to people. I made like a public post and say, hey, I apologize for anything I may have posted, over the years. I think it was like in the early 2000s. Over the years, because I was influenced by propaganda. I was influenced by a lot of conspiracy theories, even though I was in the process of becoming an atheist, in the process of leaning more towards, science and, having evidence for your claims.
Right. And nothing wrong with learning on your own. Sometimes that's the best way, man, is to actually learn, learning on your own. It's good for people to pull you to the side sometimes. It's quicker that way, I would say. But, nothing wrong with learning on, learning these things on your own. I think you value it more, with learning, learning stuff on your own. We not going, I had another question dealing with what is a pseudo killer, but like I said, for the sake of time, but this will be my last question is, and this is a question for me, a personal question for me.
Gotcha.
And maybe you can answer the question. But does atheism has a moral code? And the reason why I'm asking, like I'm saying, this is a personal question for me. And I'm asking because of the demonstration. We all know that one of the criteria in order to be a pseudo killer is a atheist. I'll say this first. I'm and people will be shocked when I say this, but I'm what you would consider an agnostic, and that is a person that believes that nothing is known or can be known about God or anything or anything beyond the physical phenomenon, right? One who I believe, one that does not have a particular faith or don't believe in a faith at all, but does not have a disbelief in God, right? So you could say I'm kind of would be borderline atheist, but I'm not an atheist because I don't make the claim that there is no God. I say that there's no disbelief in a God. And I say I'm in a position where I am because there is no proof. There is no.
You're basically agnostic. You're still an atheist. You're just on the lower spectrum of it.
Right, lower spectrum. So, and with me saying that, I'm saying that with the pseudo killers, because I would say, brothers, I don't really know. I'm at this point, I'm kind of mixed with some of them. I don't know, if they consider me their brother or their friend or whatever. I mean, but it's cool either way. But me seeing a lot of stuff that's been demonstrated, 2000 and what we in? We've been 22, 21. I'm just say 21. That I'm speaking just for myself. I can't speak for nobody else. I'm believing in order to be an atheist, and I'm saying I'm using the word belief, and I'm using my opinion that atheist has no moral code. You have, being an atheist, you can run amok. You don't have to answer or be accountable for anything that you say, or be held accountable for anything that you do. So that's why I'm asking, because of the things that I see some of the pseudo killers doing, and I'm basing it off that because they saying they are atheists, and everybody in that particular is, in my opinion, sometimes act without having any morals or condoning the bad bad behavior, or the opposite of what we would say good or good character.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna try to be quick as possible, just in case you wanted to ask any other questions. Like, I'm gonna be straight up with it. I ain't gonna, sugarcoat it. Does atheism have a moral code? No. Mm-hmm. Atheism is just a position. It is a position that people have against a claim that other people have in regards to their belief or their practice, in regards to saying that they have a deity, they have a God, they have a supreme being, whatever person that it is that they're worshiping, whatever they want to call it, that this person, exists, or whatever definition that they start laying out. So really, an atheist can't really say that they reject your claim or not until after the believer makes the claim. So once the believer makes the claim that, hey, you know what, I believe in God, and God does X, Y, and Z, or I believe in Yahweh, I believe in Krishna, I believe in, I don't know, pick a Native American deity, pick a Australian deity, African deity, it doesn't matter. Once they start laying out the groundwork of what their deity is, who they're worshiping and praying to, are they giving them any offerings, are they doing anything in regards to this deity, the atheist is just basically saying, hey, I reject that. Mm-hmm. That's all. So atheism is not a religion, it's not an organization, it's not a belief system, it's not anything else. Anytime you go outside of specifically the position that is held in regards to someone's belief in a personal God, or maybe they believe in multiple gods. You know what I mean? If you go outside of that specific parameter, you're wrong. You're just straight up wrong. Now, to add on to this, the atheist movement, Kofi, does have a moral code. The actual atheist movement, because now there's an atheist, there's atheism, the action of being an atheist, and then there's the atheist movement. Mm-hmm. And there's a couple different ones, and they're all over. You know what I mean? But the main one is, I think, atheist.org or something like that. That's like one of the main ones. If you go to their website, they do have moral codes. And you'll notice that some of the main things that the atheist movement kind of promotes or instills in the people that are a part of their movement is having morals, having principles. Usually they tend to be humanist, and they usually tend to be progressive, and a lot of times they work together to try to fight legal battles against religious organizations that try to basically violate the separation of church and state. Mm-hmm. The atheist movements that we have here in America, there's shockingly some in Africa too. Like, I didn't even know until I ended up arguing with Sean one day. I'm looking like, atheists all over the place. Why wouldn't there be atheists in Africa? And I looked it up. There are shockingly a couple of atheist organizations in Africa, and they're heavily discriminated over there too as well, because Africans are super religious. You know what I mean? But these atheist movements, they are also really into donating. They're really into volunteering and charity work. You know what I mean? And they do. But the individual atheist doesn't they don't necessarily have to have a moral code, because really it's just about that position. So that's why a lot of people end up making that mistake that an atheist can't be. They could be wrong about other stuff. You can have someone that says, hey, I don't believe in God, I'm an atheist, but they can believe in fucking aliens.
Right.
Because atheist is just a specific position on a specific claim. You can have an atheist that is racist. You can have an atheist that is sexist. You can have an atheist that what did I say? That you can have an atheist that believes in conspiracy theories. Because atheist and atheism is just on a specific claim. Now, it is very rare that you will run into atheists doing any of those behaviors I just said. Very rare. Because most atheists tend to be more on the scientific tip. Most atheists tend to agree and use science as a framework, and scientific literacy and research methodology as a framework.
Mm-hmm. So, but you saying individuals, but Pseudo Killas are a group. They are a collective group of individuals. Whether you say you're not an organization, whether you say you're not a group, you could be considered y'all are a group. You could be considered an organization, right? So, and with you know, and with, okay, well, I'll just say this. I'm not gonna get into all of that. I disagree, Kofi. What you disagree with? Like, you disagree with, like, I'm just saying what I see. I can say, I can look at the comments and people saying certain. I'm not speaking for nobody.
Oh, I haven't even been looking at the chat.
I'm
like laid back on the couch.
Right.
Let me sit up.
So, and I'm asking for me. That's why I asked her the question, because of what I see, what I observe. Like, I have no problem with what the Pseudo Killas do, as far as what I understand. Like, that's why I asked what a Pseudo Killa is, and not specifically a group. I wasn't specifically just targeting toward the group, because, like you said, anybody can be a Pseudo Killa.
Yeah, it's subjective.
Right. So, but then me with the atheism question, I know that one of the criteria of being a part of the group is to be a atheist, right? And I don't know everybody in the group, right? Mm-hmm. And majority of the people that I do see that are atheists and a part of the group, they exhibit bad behavior. I'm saying that, and people will say that you hating on them or whatever, or because people are going to say that because of what they are doing their job. They're doing their for God's sakes, they are the Pseudo Killas. So they are taking pseudoisms and killing the misinformation, right? Yes, so sir. I have no problem with that. It's just when people just say, like me, I like to be entertained, but I love education. So I don't want to come and be a part of something. I'm trying to learn, and I get on, and then everybody is running amok. You can do what you want. You can say what you want to say, and then the information get lost because now somebody is cussing somebody out. Somebody is arguing with somebody else. Somebody is cutting somebody else off, or somebody cutting their point short, so they can go back in and do whatever it is.
It's a short attention span.
Right. So I'm just asked that, and that's the thing. Like, I know this thing with the aggressive Sheffman saying being aggressive. Like, at some point, if you want, like, what? That's why I asked, like, really, what are we, like? What is the purpose? Like, the purpose is, it ain't just to come on here just to F off. If that's, I hope that's not the tension. The tension is to, you know what I'm saying, to help to clear up misinformation and take our people out of being conditioned from these pseudoisms, right? Mm-hmm. Conditioned from these pseudoisms. But if you're exhibiting a certain type of characteristic where now it becomes, because most of the people, I'll be honest, not even just over there, anywhere, most of the people are in there, they are talking about people, they are they having their own conversations in there, or they trying to get some more stuff started by saying certain things where people on the panel can see it and then start addressing a lot of the negative information. A lot of those people ain't even trying to, a lot of them people not trying to learn anything. So I'm saying you can be entertaining, you know what I'm saying, but make it where everybody, I want to watch, I want to support.
I got a question. I'm not apologizing for interrupting what you're saying because I'm doing it deliberately. So my question is, isn't this an interview regarding our dear sister CK?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so why the hell are we entertaining what the hell somebody got to say in the chat? I'm more focused on this interview with CK because y'all was doing a really good job at, letting us get to know more about the sister. You know what I mean? Her positions on said subjects and so forth. You got caught up in you got caught up in in the peanut gallery. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You right.
Let us deal with the peanut gallery, bro. I'm worried about the sister. This her time, and I don't want nothing to take away from her time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But with that ends all my questions. Like I said, I wasn't planning on being there. I actually enjoyed the entire interview. I got to know CK a little bit more, even though we talk on, we talk a lot, but some things I didn't know, you know what I'm saying? That I now know, and some things that people didn't know about you, and some of the talents, the multiple talents that you have, and the value that you have, and even some of the things that people may not know that you did, as far as those excellent presentations that you did in the past that that you did. And like I said, I believe that this year that this is definitely going to be CK the Poet's year if you stay, which I'm going to stay on you. You know what I'm saying?
I'm extremely procrastinate. I'll just keep it at 100. I am an extreme procrastinate, yo.
Right. So I'm going to, try to stay on you too, so people can see what Unc seen in you. People can see what I see in you, and like I said, I believe that you will be the motivating.
And you know what I want, Kofi?
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say, you know what I want. When I, kind of came into, being a little bit vocal, on like New Black Knowledge, which became Each One Teach One, and Unc, added me to the Pseudo Killas, and then eventually, he ended up setting up a YouTube channel for the Pseudo Killas group, and adding more members to the group, and we started doing more shows, and then of course, I watched, Mossy Warrior Clan as well, and I really enjoyed, like the presentations that y'all would do on Africa, because I just didn't know that much about Africa. A little bit here and there. You come across a few documentaries here and there, but you really don't know as much as you probably should or would like. You know what I mean? And like something that like I always wanted, even since 2020, that I wanted all the groups to collab, because I felt like, damn, Each One Teach One, MBK, they are dropping the knowledge on the Black history. You know what I mean? Boom. Mossy Warrior Clan is dropping the knowledge on, African culture. Boom. The Pseudo Killas were beating up, the misinformation. And I always wanted all three groups to work together to beat up the pseudos. We're more stronger together than we are apart. And it just hurt my heart so much. And it still does. I'm still hurt. I'm not going to lie. Even a year or so later, like I'm still hurt that all of the different groups that I hold in such high regard, and the people in there, in the different groups that I hold in high regard, that we let our egos get to us. We get to disrespecting each other. We get to doing videos, on each other. We get to talking to each other kind of way, and we break up the unity that could have been. We don't all have to agree. We don't all have to like each other. But I feel like the mission and the goal of all three groups is more important than the things that we end up disagreeing on. It's important. Our Black community, we need to know about the things that we did here in America. We need to know about you know, how all of these different Black people that you don't even know about in your own state and how they played a role into your liberation today, for you to be able to just walk around and not just get lynched on sight. You know what I mean? We need to know about our African culture and know about where our ancestors came from. And I really see how like y'all could try to show the how some of that culture even blended in to once we came over here in America. Like all of it didn't quite 100% go away. Some of it is still there. And then the pseudo killers, like what we do is important, because we can't have people like Dane Calloway putting down what our Black people did here in America, putting down what our African ancestors did for us. We can't allow that. We have to beat up those type of pseudos. We have to beat up the Hebrew Israelites. We cannot let these people continue the identity crisis and continue to make us seem like we are something that we're not. And I just wish that we were unified. I wish we could be, but I just
I understand your frustration. I mean, I'm like, I'm gonna tell you, I don't have no problem with nobody, man. Like I don't like the fakeness people that pretend to be my friends, then talk about me behind my back. And I've been saying this. I even got in trouble in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? The same thing, trying to bring everybody together. You know what I'm saying? I think that when I still think that'll be powerful, and I don't have no ego. I don't give a damn about being the top man. I don't care about being the top scholar, the top teacher, whatever labels you got. I just want to work with people. That's why I do stuff. YouTube is just not my own. I do stuff outside of YouTube. I provide other things outside of YouTube. You see what I'm saying? So to try to help.
Yeah, I had so many ideas, Kofi, like so many ideas of like what we could have did together, not just shows, like TV show, not just like YouTube shows, but like articles, presentations, you know, stuff for the Discord servers. That's why the Discord server was just so important, because I was like, yo, Trustorian, we were supposed to have a class. We still 2-3 years later, we still have not had this class. The Discord server was set up for us to have that class. The only people that was supposed to be in there was the people that was supposed to be for the class. But I convinced him to allow the followers of the channel to join the server. And it ended up turning into this repository of books, articles, videos, sources, and an ecosystem for people to collab and interact with. And I almost gave up. When everybody started beefing and hating on each other and, you know, splitting up from each other and just being so like mean to each other, yo. Like I almost said, you know what? I'm gone, son. I'm passing the controls of the Pseudo Killas server and the MBK server. I'm passing the crown to someone else and I'm gone. I'm just leaving the server. I'm gone. And if it wasn't for people like Julanda, if it wasn't for people like Sister Killa, if it wasn't for people like Undernet Bruce, if it wasn't for people like Ibibio, Brother Ogun, you know what I mean? I'm probably leaving some people out, and I hope I didn't forget anybody. You know, if it wasn't for people like them talking me down, literally talking me down, I would have been gone. They said, CK, especially Undernet Bruce, he said, CK, what you're trying to do is more important than why you're upset and want to go. Who cares if people don't support the servers like they should? Who cares if, you know, all of this, you know, division and egos is happening? Look at the people that are in the server that are benefiting off of it. And then he reminded me, you know, he said, hey, look at, you know, brother TKD. You know what I mean? Look at how he supports you, CK. He was mad as hell. Look at that. Look at how this brother got together with brother Coach and got with brother Ogun and Sister Shanetta, and they done created their own little platform. Like, would they have met each other had you not set up the server and had all these people coming up in here? And, you know, and it just made me think like, okay, you know what? I need to calm down. Like I'm, you know, thinking impulsively and, you know, about to flip out and just say, fuck it all impulsively, you know, and I just have to keep reminding myself on the regular, like what you are trying to do is more important than why you want to leave. Because you never know what you may be doing may benefit somebody one day. Somebody that used to be pseudo, maybe they may not be pseudo no more. You know what I mean? All because you set this up and you dropped all this stuff. you know, maybe someone that was lost or almost lost, and you help them come back. You know.
And both of those servers are still. I know the Pseudo Killas, the MBK server is still up because
it's still up. Anybody can join them.
Right.
There are rules set up in them servers. Make sure you read them and follow them.
Right. And I appreciate you. You was trying to do one for the Mossy, and you was trying to do one for Kofi Piesie research team. I don't know. I just, you know, and I just didn't want. I just feel I got too much going on. I didn't want to even try to house it, and I don't know if anybody else on the team would have had time. And normally, if they don't, I try to make sure nothing don't die. But I just didn't have the time for it, so that's the reason why. But I think it would have been dope because I like how you.
Man, I could have set that joint up in a few days.
I know it.
I ain't gonna lie. The MBK server, that took me 3 to 4 months to set up. That was nuts because it was my first time setting up a server, and I'm not gonna lie, I made a lot of mistakes setting it up. I had to start implementing certain rules because people was going a little wild. You know what I mean? And like it started turning into a place for people to just join the server just to get at True Story and just to disrespect him and put him down and get him to come out of character. And I had to start putting people out. People started screenshotting stuff in there and sending it to people to try to instigate drama. And I said, no, this cannot stand. So the Pseudo Killas server, I can't remember who it was that suggested that I set one up. I think it was True Story. And he was like, you know, hey, CK, you know, do you think about ever setting up something for the Pseudo Killas? And I was like, damn, you know what? You're right. Instead of me throwing all the science articles here in the MBK Discord server, like I should set up one for the Pseudo Killas. So I floated the idea to Unc after one show. Like some of us were still in the Zoom chat after one of our shows back in I want to say 2020. Yeah, somewhere in 2020. And he was like, everybody was like, yeah, sure. You know what I mean? So I ended up setting it up. It took like 2-3 days. And I pretty much just copied the model from MBK's because theirs is set up perfect. And I'm not going to lie, the Pseudo Killas Discord server is not set up 100%. It's probably like 85% done. I never like finished it, which I need to get off my lazy butt and like finish it.
You just need somebody just to stand over you. That I see that right now. You just need somebody to stand on you and pop you on the hand until you get at it. Sister, you got work to do. You over here, you on over here on Call of Duty. That's
the running joke. I'm like, damn, yo, I ain't played Call of Duty in like 2 years. I'm